It is the MJ Morning Show here on Q105, 6 o'clock. MJ, feels like Friday. I'm the only one in the studio. I hope that Fester and Roxanne are okay. All right, Roxanne is just walking in now. No sign of Fester. So I saw an item that Moody's, the business financial organization, Moody's, they're saying that the hurricane devastation could cost up to $34 billion. I got to believe that is way too low. And also, I don't know how. I know that there are computer formulas. I know that there's all kinds of AI that can calculate. But still, I don't know how this early on you can really come up with a number. And that number, $34 billion, when you look at Florida, you look at Georgia and South and North Carolina, you look at Tennessee and Kentucky, you look at all of these areas, that just seems like way too of a low number for me.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea how they could even come close to quantifying that.
Well, they have. Let's see. It remains far too early to assign a precise number.
Yeah.
According to Moody's Analytics, noting that they will release a better estimate in the days to come. Quote, but based on what is known about the storm so far, there is enough information to produce a preliminary lost output and damage figure. So the other thing they're going to calculate, it's not just the physical damage, but lost productivity. There's a lot of other elements that could be added. Welcome, everybody. It is the MJ Morning Show. It's a Wednesday. You know who's going to join us in studio is the Florida State Chief Financial Officer and State Fire Marshal, Jimmy Petronas, is going to be here in studio about 8 o'clock this morning. So he's in town on the ground from Tallahassee to do assessment here in the Tampa Bay area, and they've got a lot of ground to cover. And he reached out to me and said, hey, if you need me to be on the air with you while I'm in town, I'm happy to call in, stop by. I said, come on by the studio. Let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Jimmy Petronas will be in our studio in about 2 hours. And as State Fire Marshal, he has a lot to discuss regarding the electric vehicle fires that we've seen.
Hey, we were talking about fire marshals this time yesterday morning.
Fire Marshal Bill?
And Fire Marshal Roxanne.
It started off as Fire Marshal Roxanne.
Yeah, what did I say? I said something. Roxanne, you said something.
Well, I said there's a Tesla fire and there's a fire.
Yeah,
and
Roxanne's
there's a big difference.
Here's what Roxanne says. You know what they say.
Oh, yeah.
They say, my peers say.
There's a Tesla fire and then there's a regular fire.
And then I said, what are you, Fire Marshal Roxanne?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
There's a Tesla fire and a regular fire.
Yeah. So I know that Jimmy Petronas has a lot, as State Fire Marshal, has a lot of thoughts on the electric vehicle fires. So we're going to obviously discuss that coming up. I drove through Froggy's neighborhood yesterday. We got a whole bunch of boxes out of our attic up in our garage. Michelle has a bunch of moving boxes stored up there. And we took them down and brought them over to Froggy and Kim's house in Baycrest. And I got a chance to drive through there. My neighborhood in South Tampa, all along West Shore, is awful. Yeah. It's even worse over in Baycrest when you drive through. Well, you know what? It's not. There are streets in South Tampa where there are a large number of the older, lower homes that were not built up to current flood specifications, or even flood specifications from the 90s and 2000s, and of course 2010s, and here we're into the 2020s. And the last couple of years, FEMA even jacked up flood zone numbers and increased the building height in a lot of these flood areas. But driving, again, through parts of South Tampa, and this is my frame of reference, but folks, I'm not oblivious to the fact that Hernando and Pasco and Clearwater, St. Pete, listen, I've seen a lot of the images. It's all over the place. It's just, I can speak from where I have been, and it's just in the last couple of days since the event I've only been in South Tampa, and now I've been up to Town and Country in Baycrest.
Yeah, and those communities, MJ, they don't need us there. The beaches right now doesn't need us
No.
to come by.
No.
They need people not to be there
Right.
unless you need to be there.
Right.
Unless you're helping.
Right. So we were helping, and we brought boxes to Froggy's house, and he's right back in Baycrest. And then Michelle stayed for about 4 hours helping Froggy's wife, Kim, clean up the whole downstairs and move things upstairs. So I was in Froggy's house yesterday. Froggy wasn't there. Froggy was out getting the kids from school. But I was in the house, and the whole first floor, all the wood floors are ruined. They're already buckling, and I mean it's so all the wood floors are gonna have to be ripped out of that house. The drywall, they were about a little over a foot inside the house. So all a couple of feet up on the drywall from the high water mark has to be all cut out and ripped out. Stair tread has to be ripped out and replaced up to the flood level or just a little bit higher. Because remember, a lot of this water will wick.
But what about like the cabinets in the kitchen?
Lower cabinets are shot. Kim and Froggy's master bedroom is on the first floor, and they just had like new closet systems put in.
Oh, that's right.
And those are, wrecked, because a lot of it's made out of, press board with a laminate on top. And that stuff is just toast.
That just swells right up.
It's swelled right up. So that stuff is just toast. So a lot of damage in Froggy's house. Michelle, I know, spent a lot of time in the kitchen with Kim, and they were taking a lot of things out of the cabinets at the lower levels, cleaning those things off, putting them in boxes, whatever could be salvaged, put in boxes, and then brought upstairs. I'll get into this later on, and we'll talk to Michelle, because Michelle spent hours at Froggy's house yesterday helping to clean up. Just getting rolling here on a Wednesday. Gotta think for a second here. It's a blur,
Right?
And then tomorrow's going to be a week. Tomorrow night is when the event started, a week ago. So tomorrow night, Thursday night into Friday morning is when we experienced this horrific surge here in the Tampa Bay area. But, going back to Froggy's neighborhood, driving through just house after house, and it's just heartbreaking to see everyone's lives really out at the street. Just all the contents, just the furniture piled up. It looks like a war zone. It really does. I did take a picture in Baycrest, which I'm going to post on Instagram in just a second. So there was maybe it's a house that maybe does Halloween decorations or an event, but there was a message spray painted on like a what is this? Is this a tarp? I stopped. It's like a big tarp, and it reads in spray paint. They use like a fluorescent yellow and then like a fluorescent orange on like a brown tarp on like the side of the building, the house. I don't know what it is because it's covered, but it reads, "Helene won't take Halloween." And then it says Baycrest strong. And I'm going to post this picture that I took. But again, all the devastation on the side of the road. All right, we're back in minutes. Just getting rolling here on a Wednesday on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. At 6:09, traffic's on. MJ Morning Show, 104.7 FM.
No issues.
6:21. We were going to give away a state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line LiftMaster garage door opener and have it installed by Banco, one of our sponsors this week. And I put that off. We'll put that off a couple of weeks. We will do it. In fact, I still have one of the rice cookers to give away. And lost in all the mess.
No rice cooker on Friday?
Yeah, no rice cooker on Friday, man.
You didn't have anybody here to answer the phone.
God, I was wet as the rice in a rice cooker.
You needed to cook yourself, dry yourself off.
Anyone listening to us for the first time saying, "What the hell is this guy saying? Are you giving away rice cookers?" Yeah. Like in Oprah's favorite things. I love my Zoji Rushi Japanese rice cookers, and I talk about it on the show, and it's just such an essential appliance to me, and I love this thing that, like Oprah, giving away her favorite things or talking about like Oprah's book club and all that kind of crap. Last year, Zoji Rushi approached me after seeing me in my social media posts, and they said, "Hey, you're a radio show. You want to give away some rice cookers for National Rice Month, which was September last month?" And I said, "Absolutely." So that kind of started the relationship there. And last year they gave me 5 to give away, and this year they gave me 5, and we gave away 4. We have last Fridays I never gave away because, well, I was just trying to figure out how to freaking get to the studio to broadcast to get all the information out. As we were just hours after this unbelievable inundation and storm surge. Another thing that is very important is another one of our. So back to Banco for a second.
Yes.
We have this garage door opener. It's like $1,000. The opener installation. It's a really nice prize, and we'll do that in a couple of weeks. Let's just let things settle down. But as far as Banco. Another great sponsor on the show. They're here. Any garage issues. Everyone that I know has some kind of garage issue where they were flooded. Where you've had storm surge in the garage and sensors, toast because of the water levels.
Even if you have 6 inches of water, the sensors are out.
Yeah. Tons of my neighbors, sensor issues. Banco was in my neighborhood doing a garage door repair on Saturday, Sunday. I saw them yesterday. So bancodoors.com for any garage door issues. So bancodoors.com, they are here to help. Anything you need. Honest, fair company, over 40 years. Listen, I put my name behind Banco. They do all the work at my house. And then the other sponsor, and we've got a ton of sponsors that are helping out, obviously, during this time. Veterans Ford, and this is really, really crucial. Get the word out. Friends, coworkers, relatives, anyone that was affected by Helene and the storm surge at their homes, if their vehicles were damaged, Veterans Ford has the information from Ford that is just tremendous. That it was Friday. It was the day of. Ford came out and said that any flood-damaged cars, any cars wrecked, if you need a new car, that Ford is going to sell to the general public at employee pricing. So this is not a gimmick. This is not some kind of come on. Oh, yeah, hey, we've got employee pricing this weekend. Hey, at Freddy's Furniture, employee pricing. You buy the sofa for what the employee pay.
You pay what we pay.
Yeah, that thing. That gimmick's been around for years. Yeah. No, but literally, and I've got the actual invoice which shows the different plans. The A plan is what the employees pay. So a guy that is putting the transmission in a Ford Explorer, a UAW worker at a plant in Dearborn, you're going to pay the same price for the vehicle that a Ford employee will pay. And this is Veterans Ford, Veterans Expressway, and Linebaugh. We've always told you to go in and get the MJ deal, and they'll beat any Ford dealer price in town. You go to Veterans Ford, ask for the MJ deal, and you will not get a better deal at a local Ford dealer, MJ deal. But now it's even beyond that because Ford Factory is giving them pricing for the general public with flooded cars, with damaged cars, because there are tens and tens of thousands of people that need a new vehicle. We're talking about total flood loss vehicles. Yeah, I'm not doing a commercial here. I'm doing a public service announcement for all the people that need a new vehicle. And you can get a new Ford car, truck, SUV, whatever it is that was damaged. You can get it at employee pricing. So they gave me a copy of the invoice, and it shows what they paid for the car. You can get the car from Veterans Ford for roughly $100, or depending on the model, $100 to $300 less than what the dealership pays for it. So the dealership pays, there's some holdback at the end of the year that they're privy to, but you can get the car for less than Veterans Ford pays for the car because you're getting the Ford employee pricing. So spread the word for all the tens of thousands of people that need new vehicles. Hit up Veterans Ford. Tell them MJ told you about the employee Ford pricing deal for flooded cars and hurricane victims. So Veterans Ford, Veterans Expressway on Line Ball. Yes, Roxanne, I saw you were kind of over there.
I was smirking. I haven't told you guys this. This is like no big deal. So
you were Smirkarama over there. It was like a smirk fest.
Yeah.
You were Smirkapalooza over there.
I was
You were all
smirky.
smirkalicious.
It was an internal smirk. Something totally minor, but I haven't told you guys about this because we just haven't caught up.
Yeah. Hold on, what am I operating slow over here? I haven't caught up.
No, I mean we haven't. There's been a lot going on. But
slow MJ sign in the neighborhood instead of slow children?
No.
Yes, but the time for chit chat and personal stuff in the last 5 shows have really been limited.
Has been limited. So right before I went on the Disney cruise, I got in a car accident. I didn't tell you guys that
oh
because
my
then I was
God!
right?
Oh my God! Kemp Rouge and Green.
Yeah, Kemp Law Group.
I'm sorry. Kemp Law Group. Yes.
Somebody get Rouge on the line.
So Kemp Law Group, formerly Kemp Rouge and Green. Wait a sec, Roxanne. Was it your fault or someone else's?
No, I was sitting still.
Oh, so you're rear. Oh my God, is your neck hurting?
It's fine.
Why don't you have a neck brace on? Oh,
it's fine. I was with Daviana, and we were at a stoplight, at a traffic light on Saturday, right before we left on the cruise.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, we're like, boom! Yep. Sound effects, everything. And I fly out of the car, make sure she's okay. And
you were hit so hard you flew out of the car?
No, my anger propelled me out of the car.
You were thrown through the windshield?
Yeah. And look at me now.
So hold on, was the car damaged?
Oh yeah, it was totally damaged. I mean, it was damaged. Yes. So this is what happened. It was a teenager, an 18-year-old
on their phone.
I would assume so, but he said he was reaching his drink, going to grab his drink. But I think he was like stopped behind me, like at a full stop. This is the scary thing. I had 4 cars in front of me at the light. He's behind me. I thought he was at a full stop. The light turned green, and I guess he just slammed on the gas.
Where was this?
This was right on the corner of Racetrack and where Linebot turns into Forest Lake. And so, nowadays they don't come to you if you're an offender bender. The police don't come. I called 911, but they don't come. And that's fine. You go online and you fill out the report.
Right.
Then Doug we live nearby, so he ran up to the site and he got all the information, did everything.
How old was the kid that hit you?
18. And he couldn't have been nicer. He was very apologetic. I was very angry at first.
And what was his claim? His claim was
he looked down to look at his drink.
All right, so he was already stopped at the traffic light. Did he take his foot off the brake?
I don't know,
and rolled into you, or was it a real bam?
It was a real bam.
How much damage to your BMW X5?
Well, the insurance quote based on the photos is one thing, but I know it's going to turn into something else.
Well, it doesn't always have
it's like
to.
$1,500.
All right, so the bumper cover needs to be replaced?
Yes.
So the bumper cover,
and
then they have to check to see if there's any damage behind the bumper cover.
Exactly.
Because there are some braces and brackets back in there.
Right, of course. And I don't know if that has to do anything with my cameras because my automatic parking stuff doesn't work right now. So there's going to be a little bit more.
So he broke the sensors for the little dots in the bumper.
Little dots
for
or bumps.
The parking sensors,
He's like, he was just, he's 18 years old. His car looked fine. He's like, well, this doesn't look too bad. I go, it's going to cost something. So,
what kind of insurance did he have?
well, the nice thing is we have the same insurance.
Oh.
So then his insurance
What's
pays
your insurance company?
Allstate.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's going to, so it's his
So
policy.
it's Allstate on Allstate.
Yes. Well, here's the problem.
That's like, remember when Froggy got hit by that lady whipping out a Popeyes on Hillsborough? It was it Progressive versus Progressive. Yeah, they
Flo
both
came out and actually was the appraiser.
Yeah.
On that one.
You had Flo and then her sister Blow. They were battling it out.
She works the other side of town.
Yeah.
But
so everything was moving along swimmingly, and I got my reservation from Hertz, and then the storm happened. So, and I had my reservation to bring the car in, and so I can't get a rental car. I don't deserve a rental. Somebody who doesn't have a car at all should have a rental car. I don't deserve one. I want somebody else whose car is gone to have one.
So you're saying it's tough to get rental cars right now?
It's impossible.
Yeah.
They're non-existent.
Wow.
Yeah. And in fact, I called 4 times yesterday, and it just hangs up on you after about 20 minutes of being on hold.
Who are you trying to call?
Did you call the number?
I forget if it's Hertz. Whoever Allstate put me with, because they already have a built-in reservation. Okay. So I call there and they say, "Hey, do you have a reservation with us through your insurance company?"
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
I've got a great Hertz connection in town.
Do you? Okay.
So you know that. Just give me a buzz on this kind of thing, and I'll get you a rental car for my Hertz friends. But
then the insurance may not cover it.
Yeah,
that's the issue. That's the issue.
But your car is I'm sure we can work it out. So your car is drivable.
Yes, my car is drivable.
Maybe just wait till things settle down for just a little bit. You know. All right, 6:32 at the MJ Morning Show. Let's do some early morons in the news when we get back. Busy Wednesday show. Jimmy Petronas, the state chief financial officer and fire marshal, has a lot to say about the electric car fires that we've seen and completely destroyed houses in the Tampa Bay area.
Does he have a ride in? I could have my wife pick him up in our Tesla.
Oh,
hey, honey, can you pick up Jimmy? Just bring him to the station, put him in the Tesla, please.
6:33. Hang on. Back in minutes, MJ Morning Show here on Q105. The King. It is 6:42 at the FJ Morning Show. Wednesday morning, don't forget, 8 o'clock-ish. Jimmy Petronas, the state chief financial officer in studio. He's also the state fire marshal. I want to know how that combo happened. It happened years ago. How did the chief financial officer also become the state fire marshal? I'm kind of curious about that dynamic.
Because they both start with the letter F.
Yeah.
So they're just filed under fire and finance. He's also in charge of factories and
frog catching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Thank you, Roxanne.
But he's like over
it
all of
seems
the.
obvious.
I think if you're a licensed agent for almost anything in this state, you fall under his department.
Yeah, chief financial officer. So he has a lot to say about the electric vehicle fires.
I bet.
Yeah, Michelle saw him during a news briefing, some presser, and Michelle's like, "Wow, he was really impressive." Going over the list. So we're going to speak to him. He'll be in studio because Jimmy Petronas down from Tallahassee, down from the Panhandle, here in the Tampa Bay area for a couple of days to assess a lot of the damage here and offer assistance from his office up in Tallahassee. Early morons in the news. Let's do it. Son arrested after allegedly shattering frail father's phone in the Villages. Come on, you know what? The son and the father get into a fight. He grabs dad's cell phone and slams it against the wall. The phone apparently busts into pieces. Folks, please. What was that?
It's my old man. That's the frail father.
Sounded like one of your
warming up.
Sounded like one of your yawns or something.
It might have been both, but put my phone down, Sonny. How frail is this father?
Yeah.
Apparently very, very frail. So the son was arrested, shattered the son's phone.
The father's phone.
The father's phone, thank you.
Yes, my phone.
Charles George Weiss, he's 54, was arrested after his father fled to a neighbor's home alleging his son was getting violent.
How frail is this guy?
Weiss said that he had been working on a golf cart at the home that he shares with his father in the Villages, according to the arrest report. And a lot of golf cart issues up in the Villages. You notice that? Just if it's not drunk people on golf carts, pulled over and weaving, or someone running people over with a golf cart. I mean, all kinds of golf cart issues up there.
It's the primary mode of transportation.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of car issues in Tampa.
Up in the Villages, do you see golf carts just tooling down I-75?
Yes.
Come on.
By the way, speaking of golf carts,
Yeah.
I know you're not going to be happy about this because you don't like the damage that anyone's had to suffer, but you know that about, I don't know, thousands of golf carts in the South Tampa area, Davis Islands, have been toast.
Yeah, so a lot of golf carts. Listen, Davis Islands is a mess. And not only cars, but golf carts were submerged as well. Hey, in South Tampa, along the West Shore area, I know many people also that have golf carts, and their golf carts were wrecked as well. Like I said, with the car damage, just on my street, within just 4 houses of where I am, 9 cars destroyed. 9 vehicles in my immediate street area on my block in South Tampa. 2 next door, 2 across the street, 1 on the other side of me, 3 more. I mean, like 9 cars. My buddy, I don't want to mention a name, but 3 nice cars in the garage. Toast. Gone. Yeah. So the son got into an argument with the father. They've had a series of issues. So the son grabbed the father's Samsung A50 phone.
It's very specific.
Well, it's in the police report. So what is a Samsung A50? I know what, like a Samsung Galaxy. Is an A50 like a cheap entry level Samsung? I mean, it wasn't like a Galaxy S24 Turbo S. So I don't know what the hell. I've got the Pixel phone. What the hell's the A50? Is that a?
It looks like a very basic phone.
It's a cheap. It's like the cheap Galaxy. It's like an entry level Galaxy.
It's the Galaxy you buy your father who's frail.
Gotcha.
Get me a Galaxy.
Was it like one step above a flip phone?
I don't know.
Is that
I'm sure it's a fine phone.
So the son took the father's Samsung A50 and hurled it against the wall, damaging it to the point it was inoperable. The father then fled. The father was terrified, thought he was going to get thrown against the wall next. He fled the house to a neighbor's home, and police were called. And the son was arrested and booked into the Lake County Jail. Come on. Really?
You can't throw your dad's phone.
Hey, listen to this. Let's go. That was the Villages in lovely Florida. Let's go to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wait, I have to tell you, I got to tell my kids that story because I think my phone has been flung around my house a couple times by them. So I'm going to tell them, you could go to jail.
Well, hold on. Who's been flinging your phone?
Well, if I let them look at something on it and then it turns into a tug of war between the girls, hey, I want to watch that video that and then they pull it between each other and then it gets flung somewhere. Now I can legit tell them, guess what? You could go to jail for flinging my phone.
Your kids are like grabbing your phone and no, I want to see it. No, I want to see it.
Of course they
want
are.
to see it. And then the phone gets flung?
Yes.
See, MJ, your kids are older than that, they kind of miss that phone stage.
Frenzy. It's a frenzy.
The phone is the new tug of war rope.
It is.
I mean, they're going back and forth on it. They pull it, and then you're right. One of them lets go, and it flings out of the other one's hands, and it flies across the room.
You're going to jail. This is going to help me out around my house.
You know, I saw a video of a woman who called the police on her 5-year-old because the 5-year-old wasn't behaving. I got to find it again. The cop lit her up. Because you're calling me to come here because you can't parent. I got to find it again, but
wow.
Don't call the cops on
me. So let's go to, has your phone been damaged or?
No.
Not yet.
Do you have a heavy-duty phone case or what's going on?
This is not happening all the time. It just is. Sometimes kids, they get in there, and now I have some good ammo to say, watch it.
All right. We have this woman out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Little comic relief here, folks. A little moron relief. We can all use just a little bit of normalcy creeping back into our lives here. Tulsa, Oklahoma, a woman has been arrested, accused of driving drunk. Okay? Lots of idiots drive drunk.
That's not uncommon, as much as I hate it.
However, not many drive drunk on an airport runway.
I'm sorry for laughing. That's so dangerous, but my God. With
a blood alcohol of 0.34. What the living F? What?
How's she alive?
Oh, my. A 0.34. I mean, I think that's a higher alcohol content than the ethanol blend in her gas tank. My God.
Was she drinking straight gas? I mean, that sounds crazy.
TPD, which is not Tampa Police Department. It's the Tulsa Police Department.
Here at TPD.
They've got a TPD as well. TPD said they got a call reporting that a woman was driving a silver Nissan on the taxiways of the airport. Caller said she was blocking several outbound planes. How the hell did she get? And you ought to see the picture of all of the alcohol containers on the front seat of her car. It is outrageous. So she was blocking several taxiing airplanes that were getting ready to take off, right? So police were unable to find her when they arrived because she had already moved. So the Tulsa Police Department responded to the call.
And this is the big airport in Tulsa, right? Does Tulsa have a big airport?
Yeah, of course they do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I know about Tulsa is Tulsa Kings with Rocky.
Yeah. And did the new season drop yet?
I'm still catching up.
Yeah, Michelle and I, it's a good show.
I'm late to the game on that.
Yeah, so we were slightly late to the game, but we finished the whole first season of Tulsa King. Was it Kings or
King?
King. Yeah,
only one.
Yeah, Tulsa King. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone is this mob guy that gets kind of relocated, involuntarily relocated to Tulsa.
Given a new opportunity in an untapped market.
Yeah, the mafia boss of Tulsa. It's actually a very good show. Anyway, a pilot said he was taxiing the airplane when he came upon the Nissan. He got out of the plane and tried to get the driver to move out of the way.
What kind of plane do you drive or fly that you can just hop out?
Well, that's not a commercial plane. That's going to be like a Cessna 172 or something.
Oh, it's not like a big Southwest jet or something.
It wasn't like a 737. So it sounds like this was just it's the Tulsa Riverside Airport. So this sounds like it might be, this might be like a
municipal airport.
Exactly. A municipal airport, not the main airport in Tulsa.
Like a Vandenberg or a Peter O'Knight.
The pilot gets out of the airplane to try to get the driver to move out of the way. Once he saw the car full of beer cans, he told police he reached in the car and took her keys.
Good job.
Yeah. The Tulsa Police Department then got to the airport and then arrested Bonnie Campbell. So apparently she had done this earlier and police arrived and she was gone. And then it happened again, and that's when they were finally, I don't know how many times she's driving drunk on the airport taxiway at this municipal airport. So Tulsa Police Department got to the airport. They arrested Bonnie Campbell for a second offense, felony aggravated DUI. She was taken to the hospital for treatment. They found 18 empty beer cans inside Campbell's vehicle, along with a cardboard box of Coors Light and an empty 6-pack container, a garbage bag full of other beer
I
cans.
mean, this bag is brimming with cans.
Oh my
It's
God.
like she's taking it to the recycling afterwards. She'll
It
get her
is.
10 cents a can back.
Her speech was slurred. She had bloodshot eyes. She was unsteady. She blew a .34 on the state's breathalyzer test, more than 4 times the legal limit. Yeah, Campbell told police that she was visiting family who have a hangar at the airport. Yeah, so this is like a municipal. It's not the main commercial airline airport in Tulsa. It seems like it's a smaller little executive airport.
Yeah, like
wow.
a little private airport.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh man, she has a little bit of an alcohol problem.
Just a little bit.
Just
and she's lucky to be alive.
Oh my, .34,
Yeah.
and you're driving down like taxiways and runways, and you're blocking planes that are trying to take off. My God. 6:54 at the MJ Morning Show here on Q105. We start the 7 o'clock hour next. We're going to tell you how to donate to the American Red Cross. We're going to tell you some of the relief efforts going on in just a bit. It is a Wednesday as the Tampa Bay area is still in cleanup mode. You know what I wanted? I wanted to take a different type of phone call, and I'm going to do that in the next segment. Had a different idea, a different angle on taking phone calls from you, the MJ Morning Show listener. What is it? I'll tell you next here on 104.7 FM Q105. It is 7:02 at the MJ Morning Show. Why am I using the Home Depot music bed as a rejoiner? Because they are slammed. Lowe's, Home Depot, your independent Ace Hardware stores, just slammed, since the weekend and the cleanup. And, a lot of items are out of stock, but, I know that they're trying to rush new inventory. A lot of pressure washer items. I wanted to get the undercarriage washer, and they were sold out where I wanted to get to it. And then, of course, we have the longshoreman strike, and that's a whole different issue, which we'll deal with that a little bit later on. So the longshoremen, the East Coast and Gulf Coast ports, they're on strike. They walked off as they're looking for a 77% increase in pay over a new 6-year contract. That's a big number. They want, guarantees about no automation and AI usage to take jobs away. Anyway, that's a big deal, and there's kind of a list of things that are going to be affected early, like bananas with the port strike and all these longshoremen, like 40, 50,000 walking off the job.
Oh, no.
These are the guys that are unloading all the containers from the cargo ships, and one of the items that is like top of the list, bananas.
Well, anything that's imported, that's perishable.
Yeah. So bananas, avocados, a lot of things from Central and South America and Mexico, a lot of items could be in short supply. But they're saying that the bananas are like top of the list of one of the big effects of this port strike.
We're all going to have leg cramps.
And then if it continues, then there are going to be issues. What are you saying? Oh, because of lack of potassium?
Yeah, lack of potassium.
We're going to have to
Potassium deficiency.
We'll resort to drinking straight pickle juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of that as well, that, hey, if you're working out, you get a leg cramp, or you're doing some crunches and you get like a stomach cramp.
Eat a banana.
Yeah, that it's a potassium deficiency.
Right.
So bananas, if this port strike goes on for a while, we could have a banana supply shortage here in the United States with all these bananas coming in. Hey, I wanted to do something a little different with the phone calls. We, over the last couple of days, we've taken a lot of phone calls from people that were affected by this storm. The storm surge, unprecedented. This is the biggest weather event in over 100 years here in the Tampa Bay area. The last time we had a storm and a surge like that would have been 1921, 103 years ago. That was the storm. No name on that storm. It was just the 1921 hurricane. That's before they named storms. And that hit the Tarpon Springs area and just really did a lot of damage here in the entire Tampa Bay area. So we're dealing with unprecedented damage. So we've taken a lot of phone calls from people. We've taken hundreds of phone calls already since last Friday when I was able to get into the studio in the immediate aftermath. What we haven't done, and I wanted to change things up a little bit. I want to understand if the people that are unaffected have a grasp. So I wanted to just change things up. And I wanted to ask people to phone in that have no damage, nothing in their neighborhood, no piles. And I just want to kind of gauge and take the temperature of the people that are living like in a whole separate world right now, because you have the people affected by the storm surge as you get closer to the Gulf of Mexico here in the Tampa Bay area, and then those with absolutely nothing. Nada, zero. And Roxanne, you had commented on something that I said early on, that it's like a tale of two areas right now, because you have the people that are grossly affected. And I look at the heartbreak in my neighborhood in South Tampa, right along, West Shore Boulevard, and, the proximity to Tampa Bay. You got the Davis Island side. You've got Shore Acres in St. Pete, Clearwater, St. Pete areas. You have Town and Country and Baycrest. You have all up and down
the northern counties,
Pasco and Hernando. You've got all these areas that are west of US 19, and just immense. Bradenton. You got Bradenton Beach is basically. I saw something like Bradenton Beach like 90% wrecked.
Incredible.
Down in Manatee. All right, I want to go to look. The phone's already ringing. 800-990-1047. I know people have been listening. I know people have been watching TV, online, but I just wanted to kind of take a little temperature gauge here on those with absolutely no damage. And I haven't even given out the number, and everyone's call. Every line is already ringing here. 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. If you have no damage, do you have a grasp on the turmoil and people's lives being turned upside down that do have damage? Just wanted to change things up and just get a little different angle here. 800-990-1047 is how you get in. Now, every line is ringing right now. So when one frees up, try to get in. 800-990-1047. Kim is in Pinellas Park. Hi, Kim. You're on the MJ Morning Show.
Hi, good morning, MJ.
Morning.
So in my neighborhood, I live in North Pinellas Park, and we have nothing. My parents lost everything. They were off of Gandy Boulevard.
Where off of Gandy? On the Pinellas side on Gandy?
Yes, sir.
Where? Near Gandy and 4th? Near where we are with our studio?
Yes. Yep, they were right across from Debbie Lane.
Oh,
and
wow.
they lost everything over there, but we're not too far from there, and we have no damage at all. Not flood, nothing.
So you clearly have a grasp because you have family members directly affected.
I do. But when I went outside my house the next day, there was nothing. Just, leaves, things like that.
You got the old Barney's location. Remember the old Barney's? You've got Kahuna, the bar and grill that's been there for years.
Yeah, but MJ, they've built whole neighborhoods
Yep,
back
they were
there.
all underwater.
Behind
my
there.
parents' park got about 5 feet of water in all of the trailer park. The whole trailer park was underwater.
Oh, and you have nothing in. So you have a grasp, Kim. Thank you for checking in. Let me grab Maxine in Newport Richie. Hi, Maxine. You're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Hi. I have sort of an advantage of having both sides of it. My home that I'm trying to sell is in Newport Richie. We had nothing at all, nothing more than like the lady before, just some leaves down.
Are you east of US 19?
Damage. Well, I was renting to sell my house. I didn't want to be in there. Let the realtors come and go as they please.
Yep.
So I rented a home on a canal in Hudson that was totaled.
Wow. All right. So the home you're trying to sell, is that east of 19?
Yes.
Yeah. So again, most of the problems obviously west of 19. So the home that you're trying to sell is fine, but the home you were renting, was that west of 19?
It was right on the water in Hudson, west of 19.
Yeah. And that home is wrecked, the rental home?
Correct.
So you've gone back into the home that you're trying to sell?
Well, I will be tonight. We're moving back in tonight. We were doing an estate sale over there, so we couldn't even move in there for the storm. We've been in a hotel for a week, and now we get to move back to the home, but all of my furniture is in a pod being stored until I buy a new house.
Maxine, though, you're fortunate that you do have a place to go back to because there are so many people that don't, and they have to try to find somewhere to go. You've got people that had flood damage in 2-story homes where they get to go upstairs while the whole bottom floor is like a Froggy situation. They're able to go upstairs, but they also have relatives that they've been also hanging out there as well. But, they have to take, 4 feet of drywall out of Froggy's house in Baycrest in Town and Country, because they have a 2-story, so the kids' rooms were upstairs, but Froggy and Kim's master bedroom downstairs, and it's all wrecked. All right, Maxine, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Pat is in Largo. Hi, Pat. You're on the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning. Well, what happened to us is our lights flickered a couple of times. That was about it. But then some friends of ours, older couple living on Indian Rocks Beach, were rescued from the roof of their house. They're staying with us now for a few days.
Wow.
They lost everything, including their car.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
But we had no damage whatsoever.
Speaking of roof of the house, and I don't know if you heard about this, guys, Roxanne and Fester or our caller Pat here, but there is a photo of grandparents and a 7-year-old grandson on the roof of a house up in North Carolina, and they were swept away. There was a photo of them on the roof, and the floodwaters went over the roof, and they were swept away and gone. I mean, it's unbelievable. A heartbreaking final photo of North Carolina grandparents waiting to be rescued from the roof of their home while surrounded by fierce floodwaters has emerged following the devastation left by Hurricane Helene. Jessica Dry Turner. Dry. That's it wasn't dry. Who was hundreds of miles away in Texas, had begged for someone to save her family members after they became stranded on top of their Asheville, North Carolina home, and were watching 18-wheelers and cars floating by as they waited for help. She wrote on Facebook on Friday, but help did not arrive. Turner later revealed that the roof where her loved ones were sheltering collapsed, and her parents and 7-year-old nephew, Micah, were washed away and drowned in floodwaters. I mean, just
awful.
I mean, you can't even fathom this stuff.
No.
Pat, thank you. I'm glad that was a successful roof rescue.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you, Pat. Let me grab Howard in Bartow, way inland. Howard, you're in Bartow. Do you have a grasp of what's going on to the west of you?
It was just crazy, man. I mean, we prepared over here in Bartow, for a storm. My wife, she's a ICU nurse over in Wesley Chapel, so she was at work over there because they all have to work during storms and stuff. So had the generator ready and everything like that. But it was just you'd get bands of rain, but nothing serious and no wind or anything. And the crazy thing was the weekend before, we were over at Madeira Beach. We went down to Paso Grill, John's Pass, and everything. Man, we were just I was like, man, if that storm comes through here, it's going to be bad. And then you didn't even, because we watched Dennis Setzer on the news, and it was way offshore. That was the crazy thing. And just all the sand that's over there now, all the sand that's in the roads, and it's just it's almost like out of a movie or something. Like you wouldn't expect that. You know?
See, this is why I wanted to grab calls. Here's Howard in Bartow, and you're very dry out there. Listen, Polk County, they got their fair share. Remember, was it 2004 where we had the 4 hurricanes that essentially intersected in Polk County during that hurricane season.
Was it Arcadia?
Well, it was somewhere in Polk County.
Yeah.
Arcadia is not Polk, but somewhere in
No,
Polk.
it was Polk.
What was in Polk County?
What is that?
The 2004 storms intersection.
It was Polk County. I'm just trying to remember where in Polk County essentially it was
Fort Meade.
It was at Fort Meade?
Meade.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had 4 storms that all went through the same intersection essentially. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the phone call. 800-990-1047 gets you in. 800-990-1047. Let me grab Ron in Largo. Ron, hi. You're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Morning, guys. Love your show.
Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. I live in Largo, Almerton. I am west of US 19, but we're far enough in from the shoreline. Only thing we had was some tree debris that kind of blocked our one-way in and out of the townhome community we live in. So it really wasn't too affected by any flood damage. But I have some friends that were. I got a friend in Shore Acres. He had 3.5 feet of water in his home. A young kid that works with me lives in Newport Richey. He's watching from the balcony of his apartment, his car getting flooded and totaled. One of our supervisors lost 2 cars in his home, a lot of flooding in his home. So I grew up here, lived in St. Pete since 74, and this is the worst that I have ever recall seeing happen.
Yeah, there are people that were born in the 1940s and 50s and 60s that had never seen anything like this, because the last time we had anything like this was 1921 with the storm that hit Tarpon Springs. So, Ron, you do have a grasp, and you're fortunate with being west of 19 and not having an issue. Thank you, Ron. A lot of areas like in Pinellas County, west of 19 were okay, but a lot of areas in Pasco and Hernando, west of 19. Yes, Ron, one more thing?
One more last quick thing is the company I work for, we get paid hours if we do community service, and I'm trying to work with my leads to see about getting a day off. I work third shift, so it's hard for me to stay up during the daytime. So I feel the need to want to go out and at least try to do something to help in areas for cleanup. So I'm working with my leads to see if I can get my third shift off so I can do some daytime community service to help some people that, some areas that were tremendously affected.
That's amazing, man.
That is awesome,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
good.
appreciate you thinking of other people. That's a selfless act. So thank you very much, Ron. Appreciate you checking in. Folks, the American Red Cross is a great way to help with money directed here to Florida. If you send a text, so our corporate offices, our radio stations are under the Beasley Media Group, and we're working with the American Red Cross to help the people here in Florida. And you can make a quick $10 donation. That is nothing. And you can do it on your phone. You virtually have to do nothing. You text the word Helene, Helene. Text Helene to 90999, and you'll be able to make a $10 gift. If you want to increase that, you can, but immediately you can make a $10 gift to the American Red Cross by texting Helene to 90999. Let me grab a quick break here. Phones are loaded. I don't want to get too late. I'm already at 7:19, so I'm already overtime here. Evie, James, Lloyd, Brandon, Millie. Millie's in Town and Country. I was just in Town and Country at Froggy's house yesterday with Michelle, helping to clean up over there. All right, everyone, hold on. I'm coming right back to phones in just a minute here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Our friends at West...
Another holiday.
It is 7:27 at the MJ Morning Show. MJ and the crew, Fester, Roxanne, Andrew in the booth. I want to call Michelle also a little later because Michelle spent hours at Froggy's house helping Kim, Froggy's wife, clean up yesterday in Town and Country in Baycrest, which was really hard hit, seeing just all the piles of debris. And if you get a chance, check out the photo that I took. A little uplifting, amid the depression of driving through Froggy's neighborhood, as well as where I am in South Tampa off of West Shore, seeing all the piles of debris. And again, first you see the furniture out, then you see the carpet and the wood floors all ripped out, then you see the drywall all cut out from the flood level. But in Froggy's neighborhood yesterday, and this picture is up on my Instagram right now, Certified MJ Radio. That's Certified MJ Radio. Take a look at the photo. It's like a brown tarp over a home. And the brown tarp is spray painted with fluorescent spray paint. Helene won't take Halloween. Baycrest Strong has been spray painted across this large, huge tarp placed over a structure in Froggy's neighborhood. So take a look at that. And that's the little Halloween spirit. You're not going to be knocked down by this storm. Halloween for the kids. It's important that goes on. We're still, 30 days away from Halloween, but still, we have to, get back to normal, the best we can. I mean, the pandemic affected kids so dramatically, and now here in Florida, you're going to have a lot of kids affected by this. All right, right back to phones at 7:28. Evie is in Riverview. Evie, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Hi, MJ. Good morning.
Morning.
We're in Riverview. We literally got a lot of wind and rain, some local flooding, but no damages to our homes, thank goodness. Meanwhile, you go down the side road, we're close to Sims and 301.
Yep.
And Sims is a one-lane road, if you may or may not know. And those roads are horrible, just with a regular storm. So during Helene, it was horrible. It's just to think right down the road, we got no damage. Meanwhile, our neighbors are like flooded.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, I said in the last segment, I wanted to take like a different angle of phone calls, folks that had no damage, and just wanting to know if people that had zero damage had a grasp of the suffering that a lot of other people do. And Evie, it appears that you do, and I thank you for phoning in. James and Wesley Chapel. James, MJ Morning Show, you're up. Hi.
Hey, so I'm in east of 75, so I had really no damage. Didn't lose power. Nothing was damaged in the community. But I definitely have a grasp because my wife's and I, personal friend, had just moved into a new house in Newport Richey just a month ago, and lost everything. They left the house, obviously, for safety reasons. When they got back, they had 4 foot of water in the house, damaged the whole house, all their belongings. In fact, she was posting some pictures, sending it to us, just like everybody else, of their belongings on the front yard. And, of course, we offer to help. They have a big family, so they keep saying, no, we're good. Stay with us if you need to, because now they don't have a place to stay. But they've got a family all over. Their kids are helping. But definitely have a grasp. And then my daughter, who lives in St. Pete, thank God she didn't get any effect as well. But she reshared a post yesterday from John's Pass in St. Pete and how that was completely decimated. And the weird part is that we were just there a week prior to the storm with family visiting from New York, and as they're showing the video of the restaurant Caddies, I'm like, oh, my God, it's completely destroyed. Yeah. I'm like, we were just there eating there in that corner. We took a picture of the family in that corner, and then they show the outside. And I'm like, and I was parked right there. And I'm like, it's unbelievable. So I just want to put out there that my church, Palm City Church, today from noon to 2, we're providing supplies at the Walmart located at 12610 US 19 in Hudson. So, your basic stuff, supply, toiletries, cleaning, canned goods. So my wife and I are leaving shortly to go and start setting up the kits. So if anybody needs some basic supplies, just head out to that Walmart. Look for the lime green shirts, and we'll be providing some basic necessities.
That is very noble of you. Thank you. Appreciate the call. Wonderful.
It's so nice to hear
Thanks.
people helping each other. And then, I think a lot of people are experiencing, it just feels like from some of the calls, the feelings in the same category of the survivor's guilt feelings.
There are so many organizations that are helping. We're helping to team up with the Red Cross, with the American Red Cross. And again, you can help by just texting the word Helene. Just give $10. The Red Cross is an organization that obviously is prepared for disasters. You've got these larger organizations like the Salvation Army and the Red Cross. Locally, we also have Metropolitan Ministries, for instance. But the American Red Cross, they are obviously set up for these disasters, and they have the biggest ability to mobilize. I don't want to forget all of the smaller operations. There are just a lot. There are food trucks that are helping. You've got restaurants. You saw that Flamestone. They were
I sent you that. Yeah.
Flamestone was offering free food for first responders.
Yeah, at both locations, and I believe linemen too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And that was a very noble effort as well. But you've got food trucks that are helping. You've got so many organizations. I saw barbecue relief. There was Operation Barbecue Relief was set up at Walmart on Bay Pines Boulevard in St. Pete. They were handing out hot meals. I mean, there's just so many places that are helping out. Let me grab Lloyd and Valrico. Lloyd, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show on Q105.
Hey, good morning, all. First of all, MJ, let me say thank you for providing these names like Westfall and Two Brothers Moving and, all the people that you're trying to put in touch with these people. That's very noble of you, so thank you for that. Yeah, we live in Brandon, in Valrico. Nothing but, wind and rain. But we've got 2 friends in St. Pete, lost everything, the house, the contents, and the cars.
We're seeing here, Lloyd, we're seeing that a lot of the people that I asked to call in that were unaffected, tons of the unaffected know plenty of people that were affected.
I think everybody knows somebody.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, and my daughter lives in Greenville. Luckily, they had no damage to the house, but they have 3 huge trees in the backyard.
You're talking Greenville, North Carolina?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. I was thinking Greensboro. So Greenville, South Carolina. Go ahead.
Right. but they live on a cul-de-sac, and the two houses on the bottom of the cul-de-sac both had tree intrusions into the roof. And luckily, our grandkids and their kids play together. One of the kids, Brody's bedroom, is where the tree came in. Luckily, he fell asleep on the sofa.
Wow. I mean, the vastness of the storm from hitting here in Florida, the West Coast here up in the Big Bend where landfall was made, and then up through Georgia, the Carolinas, and Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, the vastness of the damage, the mudslides, the towns wiped out, here in Florida and other spots, it's truly incredible. Hey, thanks for the call, Lloyd. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Let me grab Tim in Dover. Tim, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Good morning.
Good morning. I was just trying to get some information on how the dumps are working for the people. People have stuff to put if they have a truck and trailer. Do they still have to take their tax papers in, or are they giving them a break on the prices, or trying to see how that's working out?
Very interesting you bring this up because let me tell you what I heard. And I have a text here that I want to share regarding the dump. The city of Tampa transfer station, or the dump, was scheduled to increase rates from $58 to $95 on October 1st. And even with the storm, they did. This is odd. Regardless of the storm, you would think that they would hold off.
At least for a couple of months.
Yeah. So I think that the city of Tampa needs to look into this right away. They should have held off on the dump fee increase. And I got a report that as a result of the increase in dump fees, that the Tampa transfer station was essentially the only dump in town that was empty and there were no lines. Yeah, if that hasn't been addressed, and maybe I need to call the mayor here, or they should have held off on a fee increase. And again, to dump storm-related goods, I think the fees ought to be waived. This is unprecedented, and this is where a city and a municipality needs to step up. In normal times, you're dumping stuff, offset the costs and pay, but I would obviously rescind a fee at this point. And then certainly, if this is accurate, that the city of Tampa transfer station, that the dump fee was scheduled to go from $58 to $95 yesterday, October 1st, you postpone that. You hold off on that.
What's the end of the year?
At
least.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's tacky.
Thanks for the call, Tim. I do appreciate it. Let me grab, how about Millie in Town and Country? Millie, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Good morning, folks. How are y'all?
Doing well.
I live in New Baycrest, and I am one of probably 10 homes that had absolutely no damage, and I'm on a canal.
Wow. All right. So what happened? Were other homes affected on your canal? Were you just lucky? What happened?
My neighborhood looks like Armageddon, but my father I live in my childhood home, and my father built the home from the ground up, and he built it way above elevation like you were supposed to, and my backyard slopes down towards the canal, so I absolutely have no damage.
So you have others in your neighborhood that did have intrusion and damage, right?
Oh, yes. There's just everywhere. They're ripping out stuff right and left, and police are going through the neighborhood at night making sure people aren't looting, and I am very fortunate that I have absolutely no damage.
Yeah, I see TPD. So my frame of reference, obviously, those that listen to the show, I'm aware of the whole Tampa Bay area. I've been here since 1994, and thanks for the call, Millie. So I know many of the areas in all of our counties. I've been virtually everywhere over 30 years. But right now, my frame of reference is South Tampa, my drive across the Howard Franklin, here to St. Pete. I was in Town and Country at Froggy's house yesterday with Michelle helping Froggy's wife clean up because they had over a foot of water in their house. So my frame of reference right now is that geographical area. And I've seen TPD all over, just driving, patrolling. On the way to Froggy's house yesterday, I saw several Hillsborough County deputy sheriffs in the Hillsborough County suburban units driving through Baycrest in Town and Country. So it's a lot of police presence here in St. Pete. St. Pete Police, our studios are right near 4th and Gandy. So it is very important to have a law enforcement presence to prevent looters or those that are trying to take advantage of the situation. All right, I want to shift gears in a moment. Hey, Andrew, I'll finish up here. I'll take John, Michael, Melody, Brandon, and Alex. And hold on to these calls, and then other calls. Tell them we'll take calls again later on during the course of the show. I want to drop after we take calls. I want to drop into something else, and we're still doing a little mix here. Trying to get back to normal because people need relief. Obviously, John in Crystal Beach. John, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Good morning, crew.
Welcome.
Hi. I live in Crystal Beach, just on the east side of Alt 19, and our neighborhood got nothing, just leaves and limbs and stuff. But it's almost survivor's remorse. It's just hard to not have any damage at all and have coworkers that have their houses, totally lost, and vehicles, and it's just hard. My wife and I went to Home Depot the other day because we wanted to do house projects, and we didn't even remember or think about it and stuff. Everybody else is scrambling for cleaning supplies and stuff like that, and we're house shopping for a new washer dryer. It just didn't even consider it.
Yeah, it's like I said, for some people, a tale of two areas. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Michael in Tampa. Michael, MJ Morning Show, welcome.
Good morning. I dodged 3 different bullets with this storm. First off, with the house, I decided I had it up to the top of my head with homeowners insurance. I did not renew the homeowners insurance. The only thing I lost was my mailbox post. And then I have a piece of property on the river up in Chiefland that I have my camper on. Neighbor sent me a picture the other day. Camper is in perfect condition, no damage whatsoever.
All right, so you're in good shape, but you do have a grasp of all the people that are suffering right now, correct?
Yeah, I was less than a month away from plunking down money on a timeshare on the beach, and the timeshare I was going to purchase demolished.
Wow. Michael, thanks for the call. Melody in Clearwater. Melody, MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hey, guys. I'm a new listener. I love your show.
Melody, are you new to the area?
I am. We moved from North Carolina down here in May. My husband's a federal police officer. We got a transfer down here. So we've had our fair share of hurricanes in North Carolina.
Is your husband like HSI, or is he Marshals?
He works with the VA in Bay Pines, and they were absolutely flooded on that peninsula at Bay Pines.
Yeah.
However, our house had no damage, but my family in western North Carolina, some are still unaccounted for.
Hold on. Whoa. Wow. So when you said North Carolina, I was wondering if you were from the part of the state that had an issue. You're telling me that you have family members with the flooding in North Carolina and the mountain areas and the landslides and the flooding. You're telling me you have family members that are unaccounted for still?
Yes, we've got 2 that we have not heard from. Cell service is not working up there.
Let's hope that it's just that, because Froggy had family members up in North Carolina. I'm sorry, Kim's parents were in North Carolina, and Kim was not able to hear from her parents for 3 days because the cell service was out, and they fled the area. They drove back down to Tampa Bay here, and they're safe, but they could not get through for a while because of lack of cell service. So hopefully that's it, and they're okay.
Right. It's driving us crazy not to be up there. Our vacation home has a tree through the middle of it. The devastation up there is absolutely catastrophic. I don't think people can grasp. There's still people underwater up there right now. And if you're not underwater, you're under 2 feet of mud. There's 2 cities up there that have been absolutely wiped off the map. It is unreal. It's driving us crazy not to be able to go back up there, but we just can't leave.
Yeah, unbelievable. Thank you, Melody. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the Tampa Bay area. Trust me, it is a great place to live. We just have to deal with this stuff every once in a while, and this was extra difficult This is a 1 in 100-year storm. This has not happened here since 1921. Unbelievable. Brandon in Clearwater. Brandon, MJ Morning Show, welcome. Brandon, go ahead. Yeah, we're doing fine. Go ahead.
So I live just 2 miles from Clearwater Beach and over on Pinellas Street, and we got no damage. There was a lot of wind, heavy rain, but nothing happened.
How many people that you know were affected?
I work at a company called Fernando and Sons, and it's a recycling and demolition company. So there's thousands of people that are lined up every day dropping their stuff off once they're hard.
So you have a good idea. Thank you. I appreciate it, Brandon. All right, 2 more, Alex and Danny, and then I want to move on to something else. And then 8 o'clock, Jimmy Petronas, the chief financial officer and state fire marshal, will be live in studio, and he wants to talk about scam issues. He wants to talk about the electric car fire issues as fire marshal. Alex and Trinity. Alex, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I just want to say I've been listening to you my whole life, and I'm happy to have you guys back on the radio.
Alex, we've been back for 4 years. Did you know that?
No, I know, but ever since then I've been following you guys. But I just want to say 2 quick things. I won't hold you to it. First off is the rate increases that are also in Pinellas with the trash is causing 2 problems. One, there's people from all over going to different dumps now, and there's causing the lines to be even longer. So then, like my company, we have to pay one guy to sit in the truck. We're paying the truck, the insurance, the gas, and what would have been an hour to an hour and a half after a typical storm has now become 4 hours. So half of an 8-hour shift, he's sitting in line, twiddling his thumbs at the dump, and then you, as a consumer, unfortunately, are going to have to absorb that charge because, if you're picking up goods from that property that we're doing a job at and it's going out to the dump, you have to pay somehow. It's not going to come out of, the owner's pocket because it's, the rate increases. So there's that issue. The other issue is people have started to get really upset that you're not moving fast enough. And they have to understand this didn't just happen to Jim Bob. It happened to everybody on Jim Bob Street.
Yeah, it's a vast number. I'm just wondering if rate increases at the dump should really go into effect on October 1st in certain places around town, or hold off on that. Or, I think that
it already happened in Pinellas, and I can assure you that I've already seen firsthand people have arguments with the tellers, which, again, the people taking the money at the low.
It's not their fault. Yeah, don't blame it on them. But I'm wondering if if the dump fees ought to be just postponed and just turned off, while the cleanup is going on. Alex, thanks for the call. All right, last call on this, then we're going to move on. Danny is in Palmetto. Danny, hi, MJ Morning Show.
Good morning, guys.
Yes.
So our city did the same thing where they did the rate increases. That is every year for fiscal year. They always increase rates across the board. That's water, sewer, garbage. It doesn't matter. But our city is also bringing in debris companies to pick up for people in our area, which is really nice. So they're not having to wait for the normal trash routine or having to take their stuff to the landfill. Eventually, we're going to have the debris companies actually come in and pick up for these people, which is a great thing. But I understand rate increases at this time is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Completely understand that. But, that's something that's also been in the works, the entire year. They work to do these rate increases.
I get it. But when something like this happens, I think you have to be able to turn on a dime and just hold off, at least postpone the rate increases. Thank you, Danny. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You bet.
I know you want to switch gears, but I have to, these 2 things popped into my head, and we've got Jimmy coming in at 8 o'clock, but I just have to mention, I'm thinking, what can I do to help this person, that person? You can't bring them water or bring them meals all the time. They might not be there, whatever. You know what I think we should do? I think it should be proper etiquette for people who've gone through this to make an Amazon wish list of the things that they're missing. We do it for bridal showers. We do it for baby showers. For, I would love to know what certain friends of mine have lost, and I can go on Amazon. I can get it and send it to their house.
Good idea. So if you know people affected, or if you are affected, build an Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
or a Walmart wish list. We've been using more Walmart also. And Walmart has a lot of the same things that Amazon has.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea. I do like that. So, and there was something else.
And the second thing is just dealing with business people lately, in the construction world. Everyone is just so kind the past couple of days. And it feels good to see that, people are out to make a buck and make a living. That's what we do. But to feel the kindness and people are doing things because they really want to help you.
To play the Good Times theme.
No.
Yeah, the father, John Amos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the father from Good Times, dead at 84. It seems as an acceleration of a lot of the people that we knew from our childhood and growing up. They're aging out. They're coming to end of life. He
was 84.
Yeah, there's just an acceleration. It seems of people that are checking out. And John Amos, the father of Good Times, and in many other things, many other movies and television series. He did a lot of stuff after Good Times. Very good actor. I just always found the dude very comforting.
Yeah.
John Amos, dead at the age of 84, the father from Good Times. All right, I teased this item yesterday, and again, we need some comic relief, and we earlier this week we started sort of getting back to normal, and mixing in the relief efforts here with just normal content. And I thought this was really interesting, and I'm just curious what you would do in this situation. Andrew, can you please go to the lobby and get Jimmy Petronas and his team? Jimmy Petronas, State Chief Financial Officer and State Fire Marshal in the building. We'll have them live in the studio. They are walking to the lobby right now, so Andrew's going to go grab them. All right. Andrew, put that call on hold. Just put it on hold. Just put it on hold and go get it. All right, Andrew's talking to somebody. All right, so. Oh, here they are. They're in. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome.
Hey,
Jimmy Petronas and his whole team in the studio. So we'll have Jimmy on in just a few minutes. Good to see you, Jimmy. All right, we're going to have a lot to talk about here in just a moment. So, Fessy, you found this on the Reddit group, Am I the Bleep? Am I the Bleep Hole?
Yes.
Yeah. And I thought this was interesting. A little relief from all of the issues going on right now. And I'm curious, Roxanne, I'm very curious as to what you think on this particular item. This guy, and there's a whole Reddit subgroup where people just talk about situations and scenarios that they were in, and they just kind of put it out there. And some of them are real, but I do believe that some of these stories are like totally faked.
I think everybody has a situation or a story you can look back at your life where you wonder if in this position, were you the bleep hole?
Get other people to weigh in on this. And in this particular case, am I the for walking out on a date as soon as she told me that she had 5 kids from 3 different fathers? Oh, man. I was on a first date with a woman who said that she was 32, that I met on an online dating site. I met her at the restaurant, and the first thing that I noticed was she looked very little like her picture. That's called what? Catfishing?
Catfishing, yeah.
That's the first
overselling.
I wouldn't call it a catfish, but she did wonders with her angle choices and usages of filters. So she started with a basic canvas of herself?
Well,
Is that it?
MJ, take it from me. I know a thing about taking pictures at good angles.
Right.
And if you look up and off to the side, you can't tell I'm 348 pounds.
Yeah. Hey,
is that the look?
Yeah,
oh, wait, do it.
It's up and off to the side.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, see, look, the whole chin kind of goes away.
Right. You know what? Scott Shannon, who was on Q105 here, the zoo, the whole morning zoo format was created right here on this station on Q105 back in the 80s with Scott Shannon and the Q Morning Zoo. Scott taught me a long time ago because I worked for him for about 4 years in New York and Los Angeles. And when I first worked for him in L.A., he would always stick his neck forward in pictures. You know, and you get, Jimmy, look, Jimmy's weighing in. Grab the mic. Jimmy, you've done radio.
It's called the turtle.
Yeah.
It's called the turtle.
Yeah, you stick your neck forward, and it kind of gets rid of any kind of
sag.
Like what do they call the waddle?
The double chin.
Yeah, the double chin or waddles. It makes you look thinner if you stick your neck out in photos.
Eliminate the turkey neck.
Well, here's the other thing you do. So
Yeah.
it feels really awkward, but take your tongue and shove it against your top teeth.
Yes, that's a classic trick.
It makes for a great smile. It feels incredibly awkward, but you'll look at that photo later. You go, "Wow, I'm gonna do that every time."
Okay, Jimmy, next level, and don't say cheese. You know, how everyone says say cheese. Say yes, and that's where your tongue goes.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow. Look at that.
Uh-huh.
So,
Look at
Roxanne, this guy ends up walking out. So let me give a little more detail. So she apparently took a lot of liberties with her photo.
All right, but they're on the date now.
They're on the date.
Hit a reset button.
Yeah.
You're here. You're
Yeah.
having a
So
nice
have a
meal.
good time.
He says the deception of the picture instantly turned him off, but he decided to proceed with the date anyway.
Okay.
After our drinks arrive, but before our food arrives, while getting to know each other, she tells me she has 5 kids. I know from our brief online interaction that she has never been married, so I bluntly asked if they all have the same father, and she says no. She says how many baby daddies that she's had after he bluntly asked how many baby daddies,
How many baby
are
daddies
there.
are there? Yeah, that's a
He's like, how many men help produce these 5 kids?
Look, if you have enough kids to field an infield of a baseball team, it's a respect. You, how many baby daddies am I working with?
She seemed embarrassed to answer, then says 3 fathers. My response was, wow. And we both sat there in silence for about 30 seconds as I desperately tried not to burst out into laughter. I'm not sure why I found the situation funny. It was a nervous tick. I tell her, I don't see this going anywhere. And the guy leaves enough money on the table to cover his drink and the food that he ordered. And he just walked right out.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so is
God.
he the bleep hole?
Yeah,
Is
so
the bleep hole?
he wants to know, did he do the right thing? Is he the bleep hole for doing this? Or
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
If you are a guy and you're looking for that person to settle down with, you absolutely have the right to say, I don't want a lot of drama in my life. And I would say that having 3 different exes who you're going to have to interact with for the entire time that those kids are in that house adds a lot of drama. So he's entitled to not want to have to deal with that. But maybe he could have been a little softer. You know, maybe it's not her fault. She just has bad luck in love, and she's looking for the right one. And so he could have maybe eased out of it a little less with a little less direct, sharp language, and just leave in the middle of the date.
I guess the question here is, what are you groaning and?
I mean, there's so many uncomfortable angles. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's less than desirable to meet somebody for the first time with 5 trophies on their shelves on 3 teams. But you know,
Elon Musk believes in this.
I mean, yeah, some people are trying to repopulate.
Elon's got he's got multiple kids from multiple wives. Well, I want that the wives are more girlfriends.
Yes. He's the other way. This is a woman with all the guys. Elon Musk he's the guy with all
the
of these
kids.
women.
Yeah.
And what does he have, like 12 or 13 kids?
Yeah. I don't think he's married. I don't think he's married to like 2 of them.
Right.
But I'm sure they're all going to be well taken care of.
That's the other side of it, Jimmy. You know, she's not looking for state funding at the Musks.
Obviously, the money situation is a big magnet of attraction. But, have you ever seen the comparison? You ever see the picture of Elon Musk like 20 years ago? And how he fixed himself up. There is a side-by-side comparison. If you do a little Google search, you'll probably find it.
Like super dorky Elon from 20 years ago?
No hair.
No hair whatsoever, and suddenly he's getting a full head of hair. He had a complete makeover. And you look at Elon Musk from 18 years ago or 15, whatever, and then look at him now. It is night and day. It's amazing what $200 billion can do for you.
Oh yeah, you can go from not cute at all to marginally good looking.
As we wrap this up and we have a long conversation, there's a lot to cover with Jimmy Petronas here in just a matter of seconds. But what do people think? Whether it's a man or a woman, you meet people on a dating site, you go out, you meet. Is it better to just get all the baggage out of the way up front because it's going to be discovered? Do you think you're going to be able to, get away with it? Or is there a percentage of people that will put up with the baggage? Or you just rolling the dice that they're not going to do what this guy did and just leave enough money for his drink and food and just scram?
Baggage becomes more palatable as you like somebody better.
Sure.
That's
the thing. I mean, listen, MJ and I, you and I go out on our first date, right? And you kind of like me. I'm not going to tell you I eat a half a gallon of ice cream every night before I go to bed. That might be a deal breaker for you. But then, like on the third date, after
Not
you
for
say,
him. He'll like it.
maybe not. But people might keep some of their not enough to say I've been holding this from you. I mean, after 2 or 3 dates, you let it out, but initially to see if there's something there, you try to get through the first 1 or 2.
All right. I just thought it's good food for thought. Cash Kitty here quickly. It is 8 o'clock exactly. This hour's word is tip. That's TIP. Text the word tip right now nationwide to 45911 before quarter after, and you got a shot at $1,000 right now with the Cash Kitty, or you can enter it on the Q105 app or at myq105.com. The $1,000 Cash Kitty word right now for 8 o'clock is tip, TIP. Texted nationwide to 45911. We welcome you. We've already had him on, and it's fantastic. Thanks for jumping in on our content.
course.
I appreciate it.
He knows about how to take a good picture.
I love radio.
So, Jimmy Petronas in studio is the chief financial officer for the state of Florida, also the fire marshal, and I'm curious how those got blended.
Sure.
Earlier, Jimmy. So we've known each other for years now. We have called, talked to each other, texted. This is the first time we're actually meeting in person.
Oh, wow.
So there's so many times I would listen to Todd's show, and he would talk about a problem. And I remember, I think the first one was someone with the highway patrol.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, a sofa fell off the back of a vehicle and how to get it picked up off the road.
Right.
So then I said, the highway patrol reports to me. I said, I'm gonna call in, or I think I direct messaged you or something.
Yeah.
And then needless to say, then it's become a fan ever since.
That's awesome, man.
So
Yeah.
Jimmy was listening to my afternoon show, my syndicated show, because I was up on a station in Panama City.
94.5.
Up in Panama City. Jimmy, welcome to the studio. You've been chief financial officer now for how many years?
7 years.
So it's 7 years, and you're also the state fire marshal. There's so much to talk about. You want to address the electric vehicle fires first, or do you want to do the scams? I mean, there's a lot to cover.
So, the EVs, we're up to 16 lithium-ion battery fires so far from this most recent storm with Helene. 6 of those are automobiles. And so I think some of the videos have been going viral where you've seen the house has burned down. The house survived, but the EV didn't, and the saltwater storm surge compromised the battery, create a thermal runaway.
All right. The thermal runaway, that's a scary proposition. So here in the Tampa Bay area, we've seen, we had the biggest storm surge other than up in the Big Bend where, Steinhatchee got walloped again, unbelievably, Taylor County. So locally, we've had a number of high-profile issues. On Davis Islands, right behind Tampa General Hospital, I don't know if you've been out there yet.
Not yet.
There was an EV fire that burned a phenomenal house to the ground. I mean, gone. And
that's a Panama City girl.
It was?
Yes.
So that was Davis Islands.
Yep.
And that home, Tampa Fire couldn't even get there because, and I don't know if you heard this, but Tampa Fire lost vehicles trying to respond to calls. Hillsborough County Fire and Rescue, we had Sheriff Chronister on, and the sheriff told us, and that was at the time that Hillsborough County Fire and Rescue lost 11 vehicles trying to help people and get to calls for service. So we had Davis Islands. We had the EV there, burned the house down. We had the video that's gone viral of the Tesla in Pinellas in the garage where you can see it catching on fire in water.
Yep.
In water, it's catching on fire. Then we had, I don't know if you know, in my neighborhood in Beach Park, South Tampa, right across the Howard Franklin and just south of the Howard Franklin, all along the water there. That's the West Shore area and Beach Park, and that's where I am. I'm right on Tampa Bay, and right around the corner from me, the next block over.
That's right. You told me that in the text.
Yep, and I don't know if you saw the video on my. I think you responded. You saw the video. You saw the video on my Instagram, and that house was gutted. And you've heard of Gray Bull Rescue and Brian Stern.
Okay.
They rescued the family at 3 a.m. Tampa Fire could not get trucks into our neighborhood. And this private rescue organization, he's in he was on our show on Monday morning, 5 hours after He was on our show. He was on a plane to Lebanon with his former Navy SEALs rescuing Americans out of Lebanon.
Wow.
I mean, it's I want to put you in touch with him.
Sure, I'd love to meet him.
His organization, he's a former, Special Forces, Brian Stern. It's Gray Bull Rescue, and it's a nonprofit based right here in Tampa Bay. Rescued this family at 3 a.m. on rafts. Neighbor had a kayak, and the home next door was also subject to completely getting torched. Rescued 2 families at 3 in the morning and pulled them through the neighborhood on rafts and boats to get them away from the house fire.
Well, we drove down here Tuesday before nightfall. We were in Jacksonville, and I said, guys, I told the team, I said, we got to be in Tampa tonight. I said, with the storm surge that we're going to see spun off this storm, I am worried about what it's going to do to Tampa Bay because it's a high density area.
Yep.
Pinellas County is high density. And we saw it with Hurricane Ian. We had about 17, 18 EV fires, and we knew it was going to happen here too. And so I've been critical of the EV manufacturers because it's a connected product. So we saw with Idalia where actually the EVs, some of the manufacturers did push notifications. Hey, this is what you need to be aware of. It was crickets this time.
With the car fires, now we've had other lithium-ion battery fires. You said a total of how many we know of?
19.
19. And then how many vehicles at this?
6.
Okay. And most Teslas?
Well, Tesla has the market share.
And that's the reason. So there are more Tesla. So people say, why all Teslas? Well, to be fair, they have the largest market share of the EV market.
And we've been sensitive because even a hybrid has a large lithium-ion battery.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not only limited to Teslas, but, I'd have to just pull the data to see what the makeup of those vehicles were so far.
All right, so hold on. I own a Tesla.
And me too. I've got a Model Y.
Okay, so I get text alerts or
Fester's got a Y as well.
Yeah, update alerts off of the app
time.
all the time. When my wife unplugs it, when it's unlocked, when she walks away from it, I get all kinds of annoying alerts. Are you saying you're trying to get with Tesla? They should have sent a mass text out to everybody in Central Florida. Hey, get your car off of a flood zone. Take it. Don't park it in your garage.
So with Hurricane Ian, we discovered it. I've got some great photos to show you. But Hurricane Ian, we discovered this problem.
Right.
And it's not a problem in Atlanta. It's not a problem in Oklahoma or Dallas. Only where you got saltwater, stormwater surge.
Just
high
saltwater.
high metal content water. So we had all over the place with Hurricane Ian. So then I've always been worried about this. So when Idalia, we got in a little contentious environment with Tesla back during Hurricane Ian in 2022. With Idalia, God bless them, they did a push alert. And they told people, hey, storm's coming. These are the things you do. And they sent you to a hyperlink of what you should do if you own one of their cars. And I gave them an attaboy. That's the right thing to do. But this time, it was crickets. Because like I said, I didn't get the push notification.
Yeah,
So,
And it's interesting what causes an EV to burst into flames and some don't. Perfect example. One block over from me in South Tampa, $4.5 million home destroyed. Gone. I mean, gone. The block walls are left. Everything inside incinerated. I'm talking about, the dome photo you see in Hiroshima, that famous, and I've been there several times. I mean, that's what this house looks like. I mean, everything incinerated inside, but just the block walls of the home standing. But that home, EV, it was a Model S. So it was a Model S that burst into flames. Across the street from me, literally across the street from me, my neighbor lost 2 Teslas. So they had a Model X and they had I think a Model S. So and they're 2 Teslas underwater and nothing.
So what happens is if you move it, sometimes that's what's going to create the grounding effect.
Yep.
But if it's not as much of a threat if the battery's got charge, that's where it's a threat. If it doesn't have charge on it, then it's not as much of a threat.
Yeah, and you always keep it topped off.
You always do.
Yeah,
you
it's
always
always
do.
we have it plugged in at the house.
Yeah.
I probably would have left it plugged in during the storm.
That's right.
That's one of the questions is the vehicle fires, were they cars that were plugged in as well? Does that exacerbate if you're plugged in and charging?
It could. It just depends on what happens. But typically your system, because the power goes out in your neighborhood because of the storm, that means the power goes out to your device, unless it's on a generator. But that if you've evacuated and you're flooded, you may not have any power whatsoever.
Right.
Jimmy, these guys are giving me a hard time because earlier I said, guys, there's a Tesla fire and there's a regular fire. And they're like, Roxanne, what do you know? You're not a fire marshal. Well, you're here, so you can attest to that. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
So they call them ICE, internal combustion engine fires. Those fires, and when we were gotten real combative with the EV manufacturers, they come up, there was thousands and thousands more ICE fires. Well, yes, of course there are, but we can put those out. You can't put an EV fire out. You can put thousands and thousands. But best thing you do is if you got a retention pond, dump it in a retention pond, or you park it in an abandoned parking lot and you do fire watch on it. Somebody stands there and watch it burn to the ground.
Because we've seen the stories, and I don't even think that these were flood related, but there have been stories where it took 4 hours and 42,000 gallons of water to put. There was one in California.
Yeah.
There have been some accidents where they've crashed into trees and they've burst into flames.
100%.
So it's
the
not
one actor from Fast and Furious.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So there have been fires where there have been damage. The lithium ion cells, because when you look at these battery packs, there are like thousands of AA batteries.
Exactly.
It's that are all wired in series.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. Imagine having like a truckload of like Duracell AA's and like have that crash and batteries are all over the place. That's what these EVs contain. These power packs are just loaded with hundreds and hundreds of like AA lithium looking cells. And if you go to YouTube, and have you seen the YouTube videos?
No, but the batteries will explode.
Exactly. So there are a couple of if you want to see this, you go to YouTube and type in lithium battery fire test, and there's some folks that have just taken just lithium ion batteries. I'm a scuba diver, so I use lithium AA's in my
computer,
my Shearwater computer. I use lithium, and they've taken these apart and unraveled the actual lithium coated cells inside and put them in water, and they will burst into flames.
That's right. A buddy of mine was a Navy SEAL, retired, and they used mini subs, electric mini subs.
Yep.
But he said whenever they had a thermal meltdown, run away with it. He said they would just sink the sub, let it burn for 3 days, and then go get it because there's nothing you could do with it. They just evacuate safely, but they would just let it, drop it to the bottom, let it burn, go pick it up.
When you get some data on the EV fires here in Florida, I'd really like to know what the breakdown was, because all I know about are the Pinellas County Tesla, the Beach Park Tesla, the Davis Islands Tesla, and then, believe it or not, just a couple of blocks over, there was another Tesla fire. I don't think it burned the house down, but I think it was Cheryl and there was another Tesla fire. I mean, literally within blocks of the one. So I'd like to know about the other brands if you get that data.
Well, and yesterday, Jeep did an announcement of a recall of 150,000 of their Jeep and Wrangler EVs. Said park them, in a safe place. Don't put them in your garage because they're susceptible to fire.
Well, all right, let's move from the EVs to the scams. As Chief Financial Officer, I know that you have a whole litany. We have the door-to-door solicitors going on right now. We've got the so-called contractors. There are tons of wonderful, reputable, licensed contractors here in Florida. Where do you want to start with the scams?
So people are vulnerable after a storm. You see the absolute best in people, but you see the absolute worst in people. And as your neighbors are going to be dealt with this, typical, I'll give you the tree trimmer example, is a crew will be starting down one end of the street, and they will start having somebody go ahead of everybody else on the crew, knocking on doors, locking down sales. And, let me think about it. Well, my crew's on your street. We're not coming back. So it's a high-pressure sale to get cash from you. If you got a tree on your house, your insurance company is going to pay for that removal.
Yep.
That is part of your claim. So when you pay somebody cash on your doorstep to do that, you might as well be setting on fire. There's no way you're going to be able to get that money back. There's no way you're going to get a guaranteed reimbursement from your insurance carrier.
The reputable companies, they will wait for payment from your insurance company or for you to provide a check later. So a lot of people are in this immediate, you're not going to be able to get it done. Go ahead and lock us in now, pay us cash. And you have, there are some individuals or companies that will take cash and they will do the work and do a nice
100%.
job. But there are plenty that will rip you off and steal your money.
Because they know that you got your single biggest investment in your entire life staring at you with a tree on it, and they prey upon that. So where it may be a $1,000 job, they're going to ask $4 or $5 grand from you, and that is a total insured covered claim. So between that and then you have the others who will try to get what's called a directional of payments or an AOB from you. An AOB is assignment of benefits. That means you're assigning your benefits to somebody else.
Yep.
And once you sign over your claim to somebody else, they will use your entire proceeds.
My wife saw you deliver a presser as well, and my wife, an attorney, so she's kind of attorney minded.
Sure.
She was at the Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office for a little bit. Don't sign anything, and you and your team. So don't sign anything until. What is the threshold?
So you don't sign any. I mean, even your insurance company's not going to make you sign anything.
Right.
Okay. But if you don't sign anything, then you're not taking a chance of giving your rights to some stranger. And every time you sign a document, look, there's good public adjusters and there's bad ones. But these public adjusters, there's some that will canvass the neighborhoods. They will sign everybody up and leave you twisting in the wind.
Right.
They'll just try to sign as many as they can. They get 10% of the claim.
Because we already had public adjusters rolling through our neighborhood. It's really incredible.
Yeah.
The contractor solicitors, they were out within hours.
100%.
The sun came up on Friday morning after the event, and we already had all kinds of subcontractors or people looking for work. I'm sure many reputable, but also you have the scam artists. The public adjusters were out there as well. And again, they have an interest in the fact that, a lot of the public adjusters, and maybe there are some good, there are some bad.
That's right.
But they will say that your insurance company is not going to be responsive, that we're going to be able to push your insurance company. That's one of the things that the public adjusters say.
So, like, we're setting up, we're going to announce it later today. We're doing an insurance village. So what we'll do is we'll bring about 30 to 40 insurance companies together, all in one location, and you come and they write checks on site. This is what we tell them to do. If you're going to show up at our insurance village, you're going to write checks. And the great thing about it is people walk in, they get seed money. That's usually about 10 to 12 grand for hotel rooms, get your life stabilized so we can start to allow you to rebuild your house.
All right, where is this? Do you have an idea yet where the village is going to be geographically?
We just finalized it. We were going to try to pull it off this week. Right. So I'll probably have something in about 30 minutes, and I'll get it to you.
You're going to put together the top insurers in the state.
Right.
All the big names.
And don't forget, this is going to be thousands and thousands of flood claims on automobiles. So those are cookie cutter. Yeah, those will fly through.
Right. Do we have a handle on the number of vehicles? Is there any estimate on the number of trashed, flooded vehicles in the state?
No. We will get that number here. And I'll show you my photos from Ian. It's as far as the eye can see with automobiles.
Tens of thousands of cars?
Well, you can just go look at the population of this area.
Yeah.
Pinellas is the most populated area per square mile of any county in the state. Yep. So you're going to have a lot of cars. A lot of people have lost their transportation.
What's the state's plan for keeping these cars out of being resold?
Because remember Hurricane Katrina, you had a lot of shenanigans and scams with vehicles that were salvage titles, and the
100%.
games where they're retitled in other states, and then we had a ton of flood cars end up in Florida. Texas was hit with a lot of Katrina cars. So great question, Fester.
So I'll show you some of these pictures of the flood cars from Ian. They go onto a website. They are labeled as either rebuilt titles, salvage, or junk. But there's a lot of valuable parts on them. You think of how many parts can be reused off of these cars, but the car has got possible electrical problems. So they're in some cases they're sold as is. Some ways they're a rebuilt title. So when you buy it from one of these websites, you know there's going to be a buyer beware. But now when it goes through maybe 2 or 3 different states' title systems, you know what? You may have something that gets camouflaged, and it's unfortunate, but we make sure we do what's right by the citizens of the state of Florida that car is labeled properly here.
Isn't it called like title washing or something to that effect? And another thing that I've always been aware of, and I learned this after Katrina, and this always stuck with me, is how to find and detect a flooded car.
Oh, how's that?
And a lot of times they're sloppy. They'll do cursory cleanup. But a lot of times, if you look deep under the dash up into the wiring harness, they were sloppy. You'll see debris. You'll still see mud and dirt and sand up under the dash. Another way is take off the door panel. All these cars are put together like Legos, essentially.
Yeah, that's right.
So you take off the door panel, and a lot of these lazy individuals that get flooded cars and then try to sell them to unsuspecting individuals later on, they don't do a real thorough cleanup. Another way is to take off the door panel and look and see if there's rust or debris, the water line up inside the car. will leave debris behind the plastic or whatever material is on the interior door panel. Look behind into the metal, and you can see if there's water damage. So there are ways to detect. So a lot of times they just do the cursory stuff.
Sure.
They clean up the dash. They clean up the carpet. But there are a lot of little telltale signs on flood-damaged cars that they don't clean up.
Yeah, I remember somebody telling me about pulling up the carpet and see if you see.
And that's another thing. Look underneath the carpet and see if there's a giant mess. So you're also, let's talk about the anti-fraud teams that you are deploying here in the state.
So we've got about 300 sworn law enforcement. There's one out here named Charles. Charles, wave.
Yeah, we a whole entourage.
Hi,
We got a whole Florida State entourage here in the hallway.
So Charles is one of our officers, and we've got about 300, and we've broken them up in 2 and 3 man teams, and they're canvassing the devastated neighborhoods. And so I love it on Facebook. If you meet our guys, please post. They're out there being proactive. They've got their lights on, and it's just to scare away the cockroaches. That's all. They're out there to run off the bad guys.
Oh, speaking of the cockroaches, before I forget. The water levels that we saw here in the Tampa Bay area. In South Tampa, we had a surge of about 7 feet. Again,
that's crazy.
It's absolutely insane. And we had a bit of boy who cried wolf in the sense that I've been here since 1994.
Okay.
And I've been through a lot of this. I was thrown into the fire early on in my career. I was in West Palm for 2 years, then came over here. And had to deal with these storms. So I've dealt with countless storms over 30 years, the close calls, the near misses. We've had a lot of these storms, and obviously dealt with every facet of this. For years on the various storms, we've heard about the storm surge. The storm surge predictions of 4 to 6 feet, 5 to 8 feet, 8 feet plus. And it's never come to fruition. So what we've discussed on the show, Jimmy, is that we've been warned for decades. I've been here since 94. We have people that were here in the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, and never saw this.
That's right.
This has not been seen since the no-name storm, a hurricane, in 1921, which hit Tarpon Springs.
Sure.
So that was 1921 was the last time that this area saw anything like this. That was a direct hit. That hit Tarpon Springs in 1921. This storm was 100 miles to the west of St. Pete Beach.
That's right.
This thing was 100 miles out in the Gulf, and look what it did.
And then you had the false comfort that both Ian and Irma sucked all the water out of Tampa Bay.
Yep.
So people, think, well, gosh, the last 2 storms that hit the state of Florida, the water left the bay. And I knew it was only a matter of time. I was worried about Idalia. You had some storm surge in Idalia, but I was worried about this one just because how wide of a storm it was.
And that's what we have to address, is that for decades and decades, we've been warned about storm surge, which never came to fruition to the levels that we saw.
Yeah.
And last week, it did. So
this market's always got to worry about the counterclockwise motion.
Yeah.
Because it will. If you're in the wrong place, that counterclockwise motion is going to flood this part of the state.
So the boy who cried wolf syndrome is people heard for years, storm surge, storm surge, storm surge. It never happened. So people, it's not going to happen. And it did. So the worst case scenario with the conditions of that storm being 100 miles, it verified it. It came to fruition, which is absolutely unbelievable. What else is important for the people to know? We've got a vast listenership, a lot of real estate covered by this signal.
Sure. So just want to be careful when it comes to, there's a lot of generosity out there. And as people want to give to the Red Cross, Salvation Army, United Way, those are all nice, large, reputable, accountable charitable firms. But you'll have, the state's also doing volunteerflorida.org. What you want to be careful of is the GoFundMe scams.
Right.
Where you have crowdfunding. Somebody will take a sensational photo off of Clearwater Beach. They'll create a horrific narrative, and then they'll start preying on the generosity of those that want to give money. And you get the right publicity. A lot of money gets directed to some scam artist in another state. For example, like when the Surfside building collapsed. So we do all urban search and rescue for the state of Florida. So we had 1,200 urban search and rescue first responders in the state respond to this storm. And in the case with Surfside, we were down there for 30 days, and we started beating up on GoFundMe. GoFundMe admitted to us they had found 21 fraudulent fundraising campaigns on their website of people trying to steal from the generosity. So this will be no different, but GoFundMe is definitely doing a better job trying to point those bad guys out and close out their accounts. But just, make sure you know who you're giving your money to.
The best thing is if you have friends, you directly know people that need help, certainly help your friends. You know them, but it's really the large organizations. For instance, our company, folks, we have Jimmy Petronas in studio. Jimmy Petronas is the chief financial officer for the state of Florida, also the state fire marshal. Beasley Media Group, our parent company, we've teamed up with the American Red Cross. And our listeners can text Helene. Text Helene to 90999, and you'll be able to make a $10 gift. Everyone can make a $10 gift.
That's right.
It is if you want to give more, you can, but the default is, this is as easy as it gets. On your cell phone, you can make a donation right now. It's literally just text the word Helene to 90999, and the American Red Cross is a large organization that is poised and well prepared for mass disaster. So it's the organizations that you know and you can trust where you can make donations, or helping out friends and neighbors and relatives directly when you know the people. But it's really sick, the individuals that will come out of the woodwork. I mean, what kind of human being takes advantage and preys on others in a time of disaster and need, but they're out there in mass?
Oh, it's the absolute worst. And I just say it all the time. You see the best in people, but you see the worst in people.
All right, a couple of other things. Again, I just want to warn people again, and these are some of the details that you put out, is don't be swayed by aggressive tactics by contractors, roofers.
And then what's going to happen with the roofers is they're going to come and they're going to offer to tarp your roof for free, or they're going to offer to do a free inspection. Once they do that, that gets them in a dialogue with you. And so let's say you do have roof damage. What I tell people that you don't realize is your insurance companies have what are called pre-event contracts. They have signed up roofers that are going to be treating you as front of the line, front of the line customers. So as long as you contact your insurance agent, your carrier, or my office, 1-877-MY-FLCFO, there's zero chance you're going to get taken advantage of. I just want to make sure you get every dollar you're entitled to, and it's not being siphoned off or inflated by somebody who does not have your best interests at heart.
Some of these aggressive contractors will try to get in between you and the insurance company.
That's right.
So you have to worry about that. Do not give a total stranger money, folks. I know that conditions might seem dire. They might hit you with pitches that if you don't act now, you're going to be behind 500 other people.
100%.
That's another thing, is the scare tactic.
This is why, like I said, we're going to do this insurance village here this week. And it's just so important. If you're listening to my voice and you've got a house that's been damaged, you need to show up at this village. If you've already got a dialogue started, great. The great thing about it is the carriers have been leveraging technology. I mean, my home was not even in the affected area. I got 3 emails from my carrier letting me know a storm was coming. Here's the app you should download. This is what we recommend you should do. So look at your push notifications, your SMS, and your email, because you may have already gotten outreach by your carrier where they want to proactively get a handle of your claim.
You said, and this is very important, the first call should be to your insurance carrier.
Yeah, so if you call your carrier, and more than likely, if your carrier's not reached out to you yet, it's because it's probably in your spam folder, or you do not have an email on file with them. But there's a senior population that lives in this affected area that may not be as quite tech savvy. This is why if you didn't get outreach from your carrier, call your agent or call your carrier directly.
Yeah, really, folks, one of the big tips to walk away with is only talk to your insurance company.
Yeah, and look, I tell people all the time, you can always hire a public adjuster. You can always hire an attorney. Just exhaust all your resources that we can offer to you directly, because you're paying for them anyway. Let us help you get your money.
We mentioned roofing a little while ago. One of our sponsors on the show is a wonderful family-owned company called Westfall Roofing. And they've been around since 1989. Honest, they've done work at my house.
That helps.
There are reputable companies out there.
100%. I tell people all the time, if you're going to use a contractor, use somebody locally that has to look you in the face.
Yep.
That you may see at church, you might see at the ball field, you might see at the grocery store. So if you've got somebody that cares about their local reputation, they're going to be very sensitive to how they treat you.
All right, we got a big mess to clean up. Do we have a handle on damage yet in the state? Is there any preliminary number on the Florida exposure as far as the loss?
So as of about 48 hours ago, were we at what, 40,000 claims? I think about 48 hours ago, which a lot's happened in 48 hours.
Yes.
We had about 40,000 claims and about $500 million worth of damages. Now, to kind of give you a snapshot, Hurricane Ian, 770,000 insurance claims,
right?
Over $20 billion in paid losses.
All right, so we're not even close to having a real assessment.
Not yet.
This is going to be, this will exceed
And
Ian.
people are just getting back to their houses. Now, look, the sheriff had to protect people, and I'm sorry, those communities are not really that safe to be entering into right now. So the sheriff is trying to be respectful of those people, and look, there's going to be things there that are just going to be horrific, and you're not going to be prepared to see. So,
our local law enforcement, our sheriff's offices and local police agencies, we had Sheriff Chronister on from Hillsborough. Lee Burkall is the chief of police, city of Tampa. Pinellas County, Bob Gualtieri, Naco, and up, all of, I mean, I can't even mention all of the
all come in to help.
The local municipalities, police departments, sheriff's offices, all of the fire and rescue, they really went above and beyond. Also, I think we need to recognize that even when they said that we're not going to be able to respond to calls for service, they still made every effort to get to those areas when service was called for.
Absolutely. These superheroes, I mean, you think about it, nobody makes investments. They don't have nice jobs. They don't have good hospitals unless it's safe. And you've got incredible leadership here. Bob has done a great job. Chad's done a great job. They keep your community safe, but at some point they also have to look out for the lives of those men who wear the uniform. And if the storm's too dangerous, they can't deploy out, but they'll be the first ones there as soon as it's safe to get out.
All right, your number is 877-MY-FLCFO.
Call that number. You can go online, myfloridacfo.com. Any of a number of ways you can start to engage us. People call us. They don't even know what their policy number is. They don't know where to find it. We will help them unpack all that.
A lot of people probably had paperwork in drawers and
it's gone.
And it's been flooded out.
Yeah. It happens, especially because if you have a mortgage, your mortgages require insurance. It's going to be all embedded in your payment. So you may not necessarily think about it or see it on a regular basis because it's already been drawn out of your bank account automatically. Like I said, if you've got questions, you need to either come to our insurance village or give us a call.
And when do we think that the location for the insurance village is going to be finalized?
You can reach out and find out.
All right.
I think we're going to see it probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Preliminarily, it's the library in Clearwater Beach. But I think we just had to finalize because we need a lot of space.
Sure.
Yeah. So the big concern was just make sure we had adequate space.
Yep.
And you got to have some place that's handicap accessible.
All right. So your number, you can get a hold of Jimmy Petronis' office. Also, our State Attorney General, Ashley Moody. Their number is, 866-9-NO-SCAM?
No scam. So that's the price gouging hotline.
Right.
And the good thing about it is we're talking about it.
Yep.
That makes everybody listening self-conscious, not to screw around with those that are in need right now. So every time they know that threat is there, that is a great deterrence from people taking advantage of the public.
Jimmy Petronis, quickly before we wrap things up, how did the chief financial officer of the state of Florida also become the state fire marshal?
Okay, so you said you've been here since 94?
Yeah.
Okay, so back in 94, we had 7 statewide electeds. So you had an elected treasurer/insurance commissioner who was also the fire marshal, and you also had a statewide elected comptroller. The Constitution was rewritten just over 20 years ago, and we went from 7 statewide electeds to 4. So we took the comptroller and the treasurer and blended them together. Well, the treasurer was also the insurance commissioner, who was also the fire marshal. The fire marshal was involved with the insurance commissioner in rate setting because of the risk, because of fire in the fire code. So this is how it all stayed blended together. A lot of those duties still stay in our office. We have an appointed insurance commissioner now. But I do insurance consumer services. I do insurance fraud. We license about 1 million insurance agents. It's the best job in the state.
Also, you run the treasure hunt as well.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's a
Folks,
good one.
Yeah, it's awesome. So if you have not done,
I've gotten $800 back.
Okay,
So thank you. You signed my check, Jimmy.
Well, and you got to check every name you've ever used too. Okay.
All your aliases. Yes.
So,
but it's fltreasurehunt.gov. fltreasurehunt.gov. Sometimes you'll get a letter from us.
Yeah.
And just go to the website and start the process, and you'd be shocked. Search your mom's name, your dad's name, your grandparents' name, a business you own, maybe a business you owned before
20 years ago.
or I tell you, a common one is utility deposits when people go off to school. They'll go off to school, they'll pay utility deposit, and not get it back.
Guess what? You buy a car, lease a car, and I've had several refunds for the license plate registration that it never came back to me, but the dealership was honest and sent it to the state. In the last 5-6 years, I've had about $850 that came back to me. So if you have any money, Jimmy Petronis' office also runs the treasure hunt. Well, it's fltreasurehunt.gov.
Yep. And so I just checked the insurance village is going to be Thursday through Saturday. And are you verifying the location? Okay, he's verifying the location.
Okay, all right.
This is Ryan. I didn't introduce Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing? Jimmy Petronis, the CEO or CFO. Jimmy Petronis, the Chief Financial Officer for the state of Florida and Fire Marshal. Jimmy,
your show prep's impressive, dude. You've been here since yesterday putting that stuff together.
Do a lot of work at night.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, you just spoke his love language.
Oh,
The fact that you told him his show prep is impressive.
Oh, I tell you, well, because I used to be sitting across and I would try to do show prep, and I'm sitting there typing out on a computer as fast as I could. And,
So you were in radio? Or?
Oh yeah. So before I ever ran for office, I was up at a Clear Channel station up in Panama City.
Yep.
And I tell you, drive time radio is so fun, and it's so intimate, and people know who you are. You go through their speakers and you connect with them, and you build their routine, and you become part of their family.
Yep.
And
then you also have a restaurant background up in the Panhandle.
So I was in the restaurant business for 30 years. My family's still there. We've had the restaurant about 60.
Yep.
It's called Captain Anderson's. It was a great place to grow up, and now all my nieces and nephews, my son just started working there.
Fantastic.
And my 13's turning 14 on Thursday, and I'm not coming home. They're going to come down here, so we're going to spend a little extra time doing work and a little celebration.
All right. So when you leave here, you've got a couple of busy days here in the Tampa Bay area. Where are you? What does the rest of the day look like? Where are you going to visit? Where are you going to tour? What's scheduled for today?
We're going to be spending a lot of time in Pinellas, and we've been in constant contact. You've got very good state legislators here, DeSigley and Linda Cheney, and all these guys. They really care about how this Bernie Jock, how the recovery takes place. There'll be some role that the state will play potentially in the upcoming legislative session, depending on the needs of this impacted area. So I'll be meeting with them, making sure, because now they're going to have a real empathy of what some people go through, and it's important that they take that pain and suffering and channel it into good legislation or even funding to help this area pick itself back up.
Jimmy Petronis, Chief Financial Officer for the state of Florida and Fire Marshal. Thank you, Jimmy, for
Thanks,
coming
buddy.
in.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Hey, do me a favor. We're still not going to break for another 15 minutes. So Fester and Roxanne, take it for just a second. I got to get a picture with Jimmy. All right.
Of course.
All right.
And I'm going to ask Ryan, and you can just tell me off air, yay or nay. Did they confirm that that it's going to be at the Clearwater Public Library?
You
don't have a confirm
They're
yet.
still working
Okay.
on a location right now because, like you said, it has to be large enough for all the people they're expecting.
Mhm.
It has to be completely handicap accessible, and it needs to be a place that can facilitate all of this.
Okay,
Wow.
so they're figuring that out, but it is going to be Thursday to Saturday. I loved catching up with Jimmy. He had a lot of great information, and there's so much work to be done.
We'll have this whole interview pulled. Andrew will pull this whole segment. We'll have it posted on all of our socials as well, so you can watch, because there's a lot of good information that was given out. MJ, a lot of information that people can use and use as a resource down the line, even a couple of weeks down the line. If you need help navigating the process, come back to this interview for a lot of good information.
This is a very long process. Thank you. Got a challenge coin.
You got the challenge coin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the challenge coin. I appreciate it. I've got a lot of great challenge coins.
Hey.
Thank you.
You're my favorite cabinet member. I'll tell you right now. You're my favorite.
I'll take that.
You're my favorite. Tell
Hey,
Nikki Fried, forget it.
thanks for making the time for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Jimmy Petronas and his entire team, state law enforcement, fire, and really a lot of good information. As far as the cars go, I just got a text from my buddy Andrew Gunther. And Andrew's been a longtime friend. Andrew owns Advanced ESI Home Theater Automation down in Sarasota, but he also dabbles in cars. And he sent me a note that Florida has 3 title classifications for wrecked cars. And folks, there are going to be tens of thousands of wrecked cars with this flood damage.
Okay, so it's clean.
Number 1 is clean.
Then there's salvage.
Number 2 is salvage, meaning rebuildable. And then number 3 is certificate of destruction. All of the saltwater flood cars should be labeled as certificate of destruction. This means that they must be destroyed or parted out, because
I think it's on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, but even on destroyed cars, as Jimmy Petronas was just saying, you're still going to have some parts that are still going to be good.
I could use that carburetor, that catalytic converter.
The catalytic converter might be screwed up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you know what? The visor,
Yeah,
the rear view mirror. All
there's
right.
parts of it. If it's under 3 or 4 feet of water, yeah. But if it was under a couple of inches of water, there's still a lot of. It could be a salvaged car.
Oh, you know who I got to check on?
Who?
Oh, Michelle just, and I want to call Michelle here in a second, because Michelle, I went to Froggy's house yesterday, and Michelle stayed for like 3 or 4 hours to help Kim, Froggy's wife, clean up. We brought a whole bunch of boxes over. You know what I got to check on?
Who?
Luigi from Villa Galacci.
I drove by his place on West Shore.
That's another Luigi. So we've got Trattoria Pasquale.
How many Luigis do we know?
I know 2 Luigis.
You know 2? How the hell do you know 2 Luigis?
I know 2
There's
Luigis.
only 2 Luigis in Tampa. And you know them both?
I got the Luigi that's Luigi that owns Trattoria Pasquale, and they were flooded out, but they're back in business. They've moved everything upstairs.
I saw all of his seating, all of the big plush red booths, and right on the West Shore Boulevard.
Yeah, so all that is
different Luigi.
Yeah. So we have one Luigi at Trattoria Pasquale. That Luigi is a great guy. The other Luigi is Luigi from Villa Galacci, which is on
Clearwater Beach.
It's Indian Rocks.
Okay, yeah.
So he's right on Gulf Boulevard, and yes, that Andrew wants to know if that Luigi is also a great guy. Yes.
How come every Luigi you know is either a restaurateur or a plumber?
Or in a video game, yeah.
Yeah, Mario Brothers too.
I got it. Roxanne, did you get that?
Yeah, I got that.
All right. I don't know how Villa Galacci did. Awesome Italian restaurant on Indian Rocks. Let me see if I can dial him up here quickly. 727. Let me see if Luigi at Villa Galacci, how he fared, if he'll pick up. Because, they're...
Hello?
Luigi, MJ, and the team live on Q105. Good morning.
Hey, MJ. How you doing, bud?
All right, we're talking about you now. How did the restaurant do?
Whoever built this building, it used to be an old Circle K convenience store.
Yep.
Built it like a fortress, thank God. I am so blessed. I was looking at video of surveillance of that night, and because they built it up higher than Gulf Boulevard and with a huge retention pond, and our parking lot dips into this retention pond, I got just a little bit of water. And if I sandbagged that one door, I wouldn't have any water at all there. So we were spared. Obviously some other damage outside on our patio, but nothing big. And I'm trying to get open on Thursday. What day is it?
Today's Wednesday.
I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to open tomorrow, latest Friday. I want to get open. We got a little bit of cleanup to do, some debris and some sand, but other than that, we ripped out the carpet. The concrete floor is in great shape, and none of the kitchen appliances
got messed up. So I am
Awesome.
very blessed. I don't know why that guy likes me up there, but he does. I must have done something really good in my last life.
Well, listen,
how you doing?
We're doing okay. Listen, your customers love you, so you treat people fantastically. We're doing fine.
Yeah, how did your house fare? Everything okay?
So yeah, I'm in Beach Park in South Tampa, and we had 18 inches of water in the garage, but all concrete blocks, so I pressure washed it out, and we're okay. We're still about about 3.5 feet of headroom before it would have gotten into the first floor of the house, so we were in good shape. But my thoughts are with all the other people in my neighborhood. The newer houses are built up. However, we're right on Tampa Bay, just hundreds and hundreds of houses that are older, built essentially on grade, right on the slab. And just the devastation all over is just unbelievable. So, but thanks for asking.
Yeah,
my concern is with everyone else. Don't worry about me. We're fine.
Thank God. I saw your post of some cars floating, and there's a lot of cars floating on Gulf Boulevard.
Yep.
Because I live on Reddington Beach, and yesterday I just drove through neighborhoods of where my friends live, and so it is literally like a war zone. Everybody has every bit of their belongings out on their driveway or out on the road, and it is so sad. This one was really, really rough, man.
All right, so Fez, you got it straightened out. This is my Luigi Pinellas friend, and then I have Luigi, my Hillsborough friend. So there are two Luigis in my life.
Yeah.
Yep.
MJ, the man who knows two Luigis.
All right,
Luigi.
Now all you need is a Mario.
I need a Mario.
You got a couple of those.
I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, MJ. Talk to you later, bud.
You bet.
Thanks for calling, man. Thanks for
It's
checking
funny.
up on me.
A lot of these older places, a lot of them, they looked out of place for years where it would be a big drive up to get to their storefront. But, at times like this, it saved the day.
I'm going to call Michelle here quickly.
Oh, I thought you'd call the other Luigi just to round them all out.
No, Luigi called in the other day.
I know.
So Luigi from Trattoria Pasquale, he called in earlier in the week.
Do you know any Giuseppes you could call? any Carmines? Anything?
My grandfather was a Carmine.
Yeah, that's right. Michelle's grandfather was Carmine.
Hey, mine was a Giuseppe, so all right.
All right.
Hey, Giuseppe, we just talked to the two Luigis.
All right. So, Michelle, you were at Froggy's house yesterday.
Yes.
And I dropped you off. We dropped off boxes. So we dropped off a whole bunch of moving boxes to help them pack things from the first floor that were up higher to then get them out of the first floor because they're going to have to demolish all the cabinets in the kitchen. So, first of all, driving through our neighborhood in South Tampa has just been very difficult, and my heart pours out to all the people affected and, watching all of their belongings, all their possessions out at the curb, these low-lying one-story homes, which is everything wiped out. The number of mattresses and furniture, and now you're seeing the rolls of carpet, the wood floors that are being ripped up and put at the curb. Did I say the drywall now being cut out and all of the drywall? It's amazing seeing all the restoration services, all the emergency disaster restoration companies that have they got people out in their personal cars, helping people out. So there's just a massive effort. And then, Michelle, when we drove into Froggy's neighborhood, this is Baycrest, hit hard, right in Town and Country, right off Memorial. And as we drove in, just every single house with just stuff outside. It was just heartbreaking. So, Michelle, you spent about 4 hours at Froggy's house helping Kim clean up and move stuff. What did you recognize? What did you see?
Well, first of all, their neighborhood was, I think, I don't want to say like worse than ours, but because of the homes, as Kim was explaining to me, 1960s built right on the, ground level, and so many of them were just one stories. So in her case, she has a beautiful, 2 stories. She's fortunate she can take her things upstairs, and she recognizes that. But so many of the other homes, I mean, the entire contents of the house, is sitting out there. It's just devastating. And so then, all the furniture, I mean, she just had a new kitchen put in not too long ago. Thankfully, she's resourceful. The company can come back. We cleaned everything out. Her parents came in they were coming back from North Carolina. They were there when the storm hit. She hadn't spoken to them for almost 4 days, unable to speak to them. And we just,
That's because the cell service was knocked out and didn't know what their condition was for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, didn't know. And they drove, almost straight through. They stopped in Savannah because they hadn't showered like since Thursday or something. And they were there. And so we just, cleaned as much as we could, boxed up everything so that now, people need to understand whatever has water damage, it needs to be cut out. Otherwise that mold or mildew, just starts to accumulate very quickly, and it'll cause you more problems down the road.
All right, listen, I know that there are a lot of people that are just in dire straits. We're going to get through this. I know that there is a sense of desperation that sets in, and just rely on friends and family and public services. Go to your city and your county websites. There are links and lists of all the available resources to help everyone out. All right, Michelle, I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye, sweetie.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, I walked into Froggy's house, and all the wood floors just all cupped and buckled. I see the watermark on the walls and the debris line on the walls, and the kitchen cabinets. And I mentioned this earlier, Froggy and Kim's master bedroom is downstairs. The kids are upstairs. Downstairs, their master just had new closet systems put in and trashed. Just unbelievable. Just the whole bottom floor is going to have to be just gutted out.
Gutted out, yeah, sure.
And then redone. They have flood insurance. And, hopefully most people had federal flood insurance, and if needed, an excess line on top of the FEMA flood.
So, all right. Earlier this year, you talked about your flood insurance company dropping you like a hot potato.
Well, no, my insurance.
Your regular insurance?
My regular insurance, I'd like to thank AIG. I think AIG, thank you so much for dropping me after 14 years of no claims. So AIG, you're a wonderful company. AIG, who, again, took all my money for years. I had no claims, and they dropped me because of Hurricane Ian and the exposure. So they just dumped me. So AIG, you suck. So they dumped me, and lots of other homes because they're trying to reduce their exposure. So what's your question?
No, I mean, would you have had something to file a claim on this year?
Yeah, so I have federal flood.
Okay.
So I have federal flood insurance on my home through through FEMA. Yes.
Okay.
And that's through my automobile carrier. I've got the federal flood through them, and that's FEMA federal flood. So that's $250. The excess flood on my house comes in at about I think it's $45,000 a year. For the excess flood on my house, they want like $45,000 a year.
Wow.
So I decided not to do. But again, I have no. Listen, I have a little flood-related damage at my house. Again, I feel guilty because my exposure is limited. I do have a gate at my house on my driveway. My gate openers are toast, so I have to get new gate openers. So I've got to start shopping companies.
Tough life when you have to open your own gate.
I gotta start shopping that, but I got about $7,000 in that I gotta absorb.
Equipment
my pool pump is gonna be toast. That's probably $1,500. But listen,
what about all these air conditioning handlers?
Yeah.
Like my air conditioning handler sits on a platform on the ground.
All right, let me try to get. I tried to call Kenny yesterday.
Right.
Again, we have a whole bunch of sponsors, and I want to take a break here. I don't want to get too late, but we have a whole bunch of sponsors on this show, just longtime sponsors, well before the storm, that can help people out. So with air conditioning, tons of the outdoor units. I mean, thousands of outdoor units, the condenser units, and then inside the air handlers on the first floor. You're going to have air conditioning units replaced by the tens of thousands. Plan B Air Conditioning is a wonderful company. They've been a sponsor here for a very long time. Plan B AC, planbairconditioning.com. Veterans Ford, for instance. Veterans Ford, they are able to get you into a new vehicle right now at Ford employee pricing. So at Veterans Ford, Ford has offered up employee pricing, meaning the guys and the women working at the factories for Ford, they get to buy a Ford at the lowest possible price, and it's called the A plan. So all employees get the A plan from Ford. Ford is now extending the A plan. Like you're a factory worker working for Ford, they're extending that price to all people locally that had cars flooded out. So if you have a destroyed vehicle, you go to Veterans Ford, right at Linebaugh and the Veterans Expressway, and all you need is the insurance information, the documentation on your destroyed vehicle, and you can buy a Ford car, truck, or SUV at below what they pay for the car. It's a couple of $100 below what Veterans Ford pays for the car themselves. You'll be able to get into a new Ford car, truck, or SUV. And Lorenzo and the whole team at Veterans Ford, they're going to make it so smooth for you. They know what you're going through. Veterans Ford at Linebaugh and the Veterans Expressway. Veterans Ford, get the Ford employee price to replace your vehicle that has been destroyed. And they're eager to help you. Veterans Ford. And, of course, tell them MJ sent you. Tell them you heard him on the MJ Morning Show. Weather Tight Mike. It is the MJ Morning Show at Q105, 903. A quick question, Fester. What are the water bills like at your house?
Not crazy.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
You realize that you just left the water running in the bathroom, right?
Listen, I make up for and pay. I steal pens. I steal notepads.
So your little bonuses, right?
Yeah, I mean, my Christmas bonus last year was 3 reams of paper. Okay, and the water.
Oh man, yeah. So I wasn't gonna play a song there, but I was like, I was prepping the next hour during the commercial break. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom. We just did an hour and 27 minutes of nonstop MJ. You know what? I'm just gonna play the Cars here, which you just heard. So as I'm walking into the men's room, Fester is walking out, and I hear the water just, and I'm like, what? And I look over and do you realize you just left the spigot on? The water was just full blast. How do you walk away from the sink and not turn the damn thing off?
You know what it is? I'll tell you, and I remember exactly what happened. I'm at the sink washing my hands after, that activity, and you opened the door. MJ doesn't open the door enough for him to get in. He kicks open the whole door.
What
You
kick
blow
open
the whole door.
I didn't.
So I see this door quickly coming behind me, so I turn around.
Dude, I didn't
instantly in self-defense.
I didn't roundhouse kick the bathroom door open.
Flew open.
I don't even touch the door.
And you didn't even see me. I was completely behind the door, and then the door closes, and we see each other, and then we had that awkward bathroom men conversation, like, "Hey man, and then I walked out.
Have you seen the filth and muck and sticky buildup on our doors? First of all, why aren't our doors to the bathroom cleaned? And the paint is all worn off. Why aren't our doors painted? I mean, this is like the lobby area where like guests come in, and we've got paint coming off the bathroom. Our bathrooms are in the lobby, which is I don't know, just bizarre. But so
I remember I came here for an interview, and I actually timed Mason Dixon walking into the bathroom and walking up. I was in there for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Why'd you do that?
Because it's in the lobby. I'm in the lobby.
And here comes Mason Dixon. When did he come here for a job interview?
I had to. Travis wanted to meet about something.
Oh, after the MJ morning show?
Before the morning show came back, but after
after we left 93.
Yeah. When we were talking about it,
All right.
Before we came back to Q105.
Gotcha. And then you
It wasn't an interview, but it was like I'm sitting in the lobby for a couple minutes and like 10 minutes.
Hold on. You're telling me that you actually timed how much time?
Mason Dixon on Q105.
Took in the bathroom?
I mean, this was before COVID, so people were actually allowed to sit in our lobby, which I
okay.
don't think we
All
do that anymore. But yeah, I was sitting there in the lobby, and then out from the studio hallway comes Mason and he's like, "Hey man," and he's like, "I gotta pee," and he
well, because we've known Mason because we used to work with Mason.
Course.
He was on Mix 96.
He was
then he was on
Kiss 100.7.
Kiss. Then he was on Then he was on that station over on Gandy with us down the hall behind our MJ studio. So that is correct. Hey, turn the freaking water off. I don't know how you. Do you do that at home? Do you just leave the water running after the bathroom?
Does Allison have to come behind you?
A little trickle.
It was not a trickle.
Listen.
It was not a little trickle.
It's because you startled me with the kicking of the door.
I did not kick the door open. Now, I do use the foot plate because our doors are nasty.
So you kicked it open.
I did not kick it open. I pushed it open. I didn't kick it open.
The door fully extended far past the space that you need to walk into and out of it. Sorry for the water company. Ugh.
Gotcha. All right, moving along here on the MJ Morning Show, 9:08 here on a Wednesday morning. Michelle wants to go see a movie.
Which one?
Apparently, this thing is so damn disturbing. People are like walking out of the movie.
Oh, so you only have to see half of it, so it shouldn't take you too long.
Is it the Demi Moore movie?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yes, you know about this?
No, tell me.
I know of it.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I think I saw that people were leaving halfway through it, like some AI generated youth thing.
Here's the deal. Michelle read the story about people walking out because it's so disturbing, and Michelle wants to walk in. So people walk out, Michelle wants to walk. So it's called The Substance, and it stars Demi Moore. So Demi is apparently an aging actress who then takes this substance to return her youth. And I guess things don't go well. Something.
Is this life imitating art? Because I think she's tried to do a lot of things. Hang in there. I'm not mad at her.
All right, so let me read some of the story. This is from the Independent. The Substance, body horror film causing cinema walkouts around the world. A new body horror film is causing walkouts in cinemas across the world due to its extreme gore. Those in attendance of screenings of the new film have been sharing their experience of sitting through the 2-hour-plus title while audience members around them decided enough was enough. The film in question is The Substance, which is directed by Coralie Farge, I don't know, and was named one of the best titles of the year at the Cannes Film Festival by The Independent, who predicted its thrills would receive a love it or hate it response upon release. Starring Demi Moore, The film, distributed by Mubi, follows an aging Hollywood star who takes a black market drug to create a younger version of herself, played by Margaret Qualley. Its enticing plot has lured its cinema goers who clearly weren't prepared of how extreme things get. The Independent previously called The Substance a body horror that goes places even body horror aficionados will be shocked by.
What's body
Yeah,
horror?
yeah.
What is that genre?
Never heard of that.
Can you maybe look up the...
I don't know.
But
I will.
Does that mean like the bodies are getting decimated in that?
Listen, you're Queen Google over there. Let's go.
Yeah, well, Fester's fat fingers are going to
What
going
are
to town
body
right
horror
now.
movies?
Speaking of body horror,
What is a... here it is. Here's the genre. Just click on the whole Wikipedia. Just click on that right there. Body horror, or biological horror, is a subgenre of horror fiction that intentionally showcases grotesque or psychologically disturbing violations of the human body or of another creature.
Oh, okay, body horror is what I thought it was.
I guess like The Walking Dead with all the zombies walking around, that would be like a,
Okay.
a body.
yeah, but that doesn't seem like it would make me walk out.
What, of your own house?
The
Walking Dead. Yeah, that's it. I can't take this anymore. I'm walking out of the street in West.
I'm in the yard if you need me, honey.
I'm gonna walk down West Chase Boulevard. I'm out of my own house. I'm out of here, honey. I'm leaving.
Okay, we need the scale. Is this more of a walkout than, let's say, I don't know, Human Centipede? Where does it compare to the Human Centipede?
After seeing the film, a cinema goer wrote, "My review of The Substance is that people walked out of our screening, and as far as I'm concerned, we don't have enough movies where that might happen." With another stating, "Some people walked out of the screening of The Substance we were at last night, one of the most violent films I've ever seen." One person added, "I've seen thousands of films, and it is very hard to shock me, but this gloriously demented movie was cray-cray on 11. That's like Spinal Tap, man. The Substance is not for the faint of heart. During my viewing, several people walked out mid-film, but this is an instant cult classic. You've been warned.
I mean, they do say that this is an incredible performance by Demi Moore.
Yeah.
And I like Dennis Quaid, too.
Well, Michelle wants to see it.
Let us know how it is.
Yeah.
Let it see if you can sit
Andrew,
through the whole thing.
Andrew, turn your mic on. Give us the details.
The tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 91, although the fans gave it a 71.
All right, so the critic score is a 91 and the fan tomato meter is a 71. Listen, still good numbers.
I just watched the whole trailer on silent,
Yep.
but I watched the whole trailer. Not a gory thing in the trailer. I mean, I guess they have to save that for the film, but...
Well, they don't want people walking out of their houses from watching the computer screen inside their living room.
I mean,
You know?
I'm more interested in seeing it now than I ever would have been without this buzz.
Yeah, there's a buzz, and Michelle's like, "Yeah, we got to go see this." I think we might see it today. You know, we had 3 days of cleanup at my house, so Michelle wants a distraction. Apparently, this is a hell of a distraction. People walking out, Michelle's walking in. Yeah, she's very adventurous that way.
Does this movie appeal to people of a certain age and season of life?
Or does it scare people of a certain age and season?
I mean, if you're a put together person somewhere between the ages of 45 and 60, where you're not young but you're not old, does this movie have some kind of attraction for you? I don't know.
Or repulsion.
Or repulsion.
9:13, rolling up on 9:14 now at the MJ Morning Show. If you missed it, last hour we had Jimmy Patronis in, the state chief financial officer for Florida, as well as the fire marshal for the state of Florida, and we had some great information. After the show today, Andrew, podcast is generally propagated to all of the platforms by 11 a.m., is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so if you missed Jimmy Patronis, we spent a lot of time. We've done a lot of hurricane and storm surge aftermath coverage today as well. Jimmy Patronis had a lot of important things. They're also going to be doing an insurance village in Clearwater, where they're bringing in all of the major insurance companies in one huge location where you can drive in and deal with your insurance company in person. And the first Insurance Village is going to be coming up. I think they're going to do it tomorrow, right?
They haven't quite landed on a location yet, but as soon as we hear, we will tell you.
But that'll be publicized everywhere. But Insurance Village is coming up. But I encourage you, if you missed the earlier portions of the show, the podcast hits at 11 a.m. And listen, I just got to say this. Our podcast platform internally sucks.
Yeah.
And stuff doesn't post sometimes for days. Sometimes it posts, sometimes it doesn't. If you ever go to mjmorningshow.com and look for the podcast on our page and it's not there, if you ever go to like the MyQ105 app and it's not there, go to Apple Podcasts or go to Spotify. It's all free. Go to the major podcast. Hey, Andrew, what are all the podcast platforms that we push out to? List
Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Okay.
And what about Google Podcasts?
I think we're on Google too. Are we? I think I don't know, but I know we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Because I get people all the time. Hey, MJ, it's Monday night and Friday's podcast is not posted yet. Well,
look at a different provider.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on internally at our company, but we've got some technology issues that they clearly need to work through, and I've been complaining for a year. So, again, if you ever need our podcast and it's not available on our platforms, go to Spotify or go to Apple Podcasts. You can get them free on there, and those propagate and post right away, immediately. Whenever there's a problem and someone reaches out, hey, MJ, your podcast's not posted. I'm like, where are you trying to get it? On mjmorningshow.com or on the Q105 app. And then I go and check, it's not there. And then I go to Apple or Spotify and boom, it's right there. So, hey, you were just recently on a cruise.
I was.
2 weeks ago, right?
Oh, yeah. It seems like a lifetime ago, but yes. It was 2 weeks
you
ago.
were on the Disney Flippity Flap. What was the name of the ship?
The Disney Flippity Flap.
You were on the Flippity Flap?
Do they name their boats?
Flippity Flap, Clappity Clap.
You were on the Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
The Mary Poppins ship.
That's what
yes.
they need to have.
They should.
A Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh, that'd be awful. Like the morning announcement. Good morning on the Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh, man. You know
Let's
what?
do it.
I got a great song.
What is it?
Yeah. On the Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, if you get the norovirus, diarrhea will be atrocious.
Atrocious. Oh, yes, yes.
What do you think?
Perfect. It rhymed and everything.
Is there a
What a
second?
jingle.
Is there a second verse to that?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's all I've worked out so far. That's it. All right.
Yeah. So I was on the Wish Cruise. What's up with the Wish Cruise?
Just out of curiosity,
Uh-huh.
did you see the hidden ducks?
Is that something? Yes, we did. We did. That's my sister's into that.
It's not just these Jeep weirdos with all of the rubber ducks all over their Jeeps. Do you know there's this craze?
Yeah, the cruise rubber duck craze.
Yes,
that was a thing.
There's a cruise rubber duck craze where people go on cruises and hide rubber ducks all over the freaking cruise ship. But the cruise companies, they want people to cut the crap.
Yeah, the girls were looking for them. It's funny. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening.
I'll tell you who doesn't. Carnival. I was on a Carnival cruise, I think the year before last, and they had a duck, like, claw game machine in the arcade.
Yeah. Let me tell you what happens. On Carnival, some of the polyester princesses from the Midwest, they hide sandwiches to come back and get them later, off the buffet. That's
I hid sandwiches. Y'all gonna eat the rest of this? I took the whole pan out.
No, but seriously, the cruise lines want people to stop hiding freaking rubber ducks in all kinds of nooks and crannies on their ships.
Why? Because they're getting like lodged in the engine or something?
I don't know. It's
People are slipping on the ducks like banana peels.
Yeah,
just a hazard.
The secret of the seas, according to these cruisers, the people who love cruisers, are these rubber ducks that passengers are hiding all over the damn ships. And the cruise companies are saying enough is enough.
No, man. I remember we went onto the cruise. As soon as we got into the elevator, there was a duck on the back corner floor. My son turns around like, there's a duck. He picks it up, and the kids found like 15 ducks.
Let me get this straight. So people are packing their luggage with their bathing trunks, their DOP kit, panties, underwear, bras, jeans, Bermuda shorts, T-shirts, muscle shirts, swim shirts, and rubber ducks.
Yes, and a lot of times they put like a little card around the neck of it or something, letting you know who provided it or wishing you a good cruise or something.
These are the same people who like geocaching. Is that what it is? Like, people that can do something.
I thought the geocaching thing kind of had its day, and
Yeah.
that's kind of done.
Now they're doing the ducks. These same people have moved on to
Great.
hiding ducks places. But the person who can hide a duck and then go live their life and wait for that, just be happy with the idea that someone will show up
Just
and
put it in the
get
universe.
kicked out, get a kick out of it.
I mean,
yes.
like painted rocks are another thing. I
Yeah.
mean, my daughter seems to have found 50 different painted rocks over the years. And people take the time to paint a little image
Yeah.
on it and they put it somewhere and a kid finds it and then
and they just go on their way.
Yeah, they take it.
Fester's showing me a picture of one of these ducks with a little note tied around the duck's neck. Do people put like, hey, looking for a good time? Come to cabin 372.
We'll fill up our little bathtub in the cabin. They don't really have bathtubs, just showers.
I mean,
Some suds and ducks.
That's what I did. I go, hey, if you want to duck around later, come to
Want a duck? Come to my cabin.
Duck, duck, goose.
All right, so why didn't you bring this up?
It just wasn't. I mean, it wasn't at the top of my list. We've kind of. It's been crazy since I came back from the cruise. Right, like 2 days in, we were preparing for the hurricane.
On the cruises, it doesn't seem like it's as strange as you're making it sound now.
Yeah, on the cruise, it's like no big deal. We're eating dinner, and one of the kids is like, "Oh, there's a duck in the corner of that booth."
Speaking of little floaty things, with the storm surge, just
Yeah.
the stuff that like blew into our yard.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about sewage or something.
Well, I'm sure there was a mix of that, but we had life vests pop up and all kind of little floaty toys and all kinds of junk. And I meant to get to this earlier. I started to get into it, then I got distracted, which is a big rarity for me. For me to go off on something else that virtually never happens on this show. There was a story in Fester. I think we all saw this, that locally a bunch of cockroaches climbed inside like a glass coffee pot.
Yeah, a coffee mug.
Like in a garage or inside someone's house
Mhm.
where the water levels were high. And the cockroaches, which they say that even after like a worldwide global thermonuclear war, that the cockroaches will survive.
They will survive.
But there's an image that I saw online locally of a whole bunch of cockroaches climbing into like a glass coffee pot that was floating, and they saved themselves by climbing inside a coffee pot. Oh, there it is. Fester just found it.
Yeah, those cockroaches, they know how to survive.
Now, just think if they got into some coffee grounds in there, they're going to be all hopped up. They're going to be energetic. They're going to be fornicating and multiplying, and they're going to be even more cockroaches now that they've gotten a hold of coffee grounds.
Let me tell you what I saw when I was outside during the surge. When I was outside, I saw a lot of insects and animals climbing for higher ground.
Yeah, because they can't live in the wood between
Let me
your
tell
rooms.
tell you what I saw. I saw on the outside of my house, I saw cockroaches, the palmetto bugs, whatever, they're cockroaches. They were climbing up the wall to escape the water, and lizards. I had lizards all over the place.
I have seen an abundance of lizards in the last week.
No. I mean, I've got them all over my
All
yard.
the time.
But I'm talking about during the storm surge as the water was coming up, the lizards were climbing up all of the walls above the water line at my house. And it was just amazing seeing all of the creatures, knowing that something's going on, trying to get out of harm's way to save themselves. 9:23 at the MJ Morning Show here on Q105. When we get back, the final chunk of the MJ Morning Show. This is great. Woman hates a painting, wants to throw the damn painting out. Hated a painting, despised this painting. You're not going to believe the story behind this painting and the value of the painting. Hey, you know about marijuana Pepsi? All right, I got to tell you the story of marijuana Pepsi when we get back. And many other things. We got a lot to squeeze in, so stand by. Hey, my friends at Plan B Air Conditioning. Morning show rotation.
I told you played my two favorites yesterday.
Do you have another request? Because I've got about 45 selections.
Oh, man, I need to the one. There's a like kind of a poppy '80s sound that we don't play on the station, but you rejoin with it. Okay, that works. That works.
Was that the one?
That's not the one, but
Okay,
I
let
like
me
that.
shut that off. Hold
Okay.
on. That's Pop Goes the
And
World by
it's-
Men Without Hats.
Yeah, no, this is a female voice, female vocalist. As soon as I hear it, I'm gonna no, but
Play another one. Play a random.
yeah, just hit it.
Oh.
I'll give it. Oh yes, yes.
Oh, this one.
yes,
Yeah. There we go. Look at that.
Does that make it better or worse?
This is a
Am I
great
ruining
song.
it?
It's never a major hit, and no one plays this anymore. Yeah. Hey, Festa, bring up YouTube.
Sure.
Yeah, I just have like an instrumental rejoin version here. Yeah, go to YouTube. Yeah, I always loved this song. I just thought it was a catchy little song.
Yeah. What is it called?
Type in Sunscream.
Sunscream?
Sunscream. SCREEM. Sunscream.
Okay.
All right. No, not screen like you, dude. It's not sunscreen like you put on your body. It's not like SPF 50, dude.
Sunscreen, like,
Scream. Yeah, sunscreen. It's called Love You More. Let me see if this is a
Couple-second commercial.
Got a Samsung ad. Okay, skip the ad. Go ahead. Skip it. All right, Love You More. Let's hopefully the quality's halfway decent on this. No, it's not bad. I'm sorry, 1992.
So
1992.
What's Sunscream doing now?
I think working at a Five Guys in Akron.
I mean, seriously.
Lamenting not wearing sunscreen.
When you think about these one-hit wonders.
Yeah. Oh, they were a one-hit wonder, all right.
Yeah.
This is a crazy story. This wife hated this painting. And first of all, just one look, you know what it is. I mean, you have to be an art moron to not know what you're dealing with. And it's not a Pollock. It's not a Jackson Pollock. Although, you don't have to be a moron for not knowing what a Jackson Pollock looks like as well. And of course, there have been a lot of imitations as well.
Is it a Banksy? Because that's my limited art knowledge.
This is amazing. Guy discovers an old painting in his home. Wife hated the painting. It was hidden away for decades because it was hated. The junk dealer's wife hated the horrible painting. So it was shoved away somewhere.
Oh, no.
The son then inherits everything and finds the painting.
I know how this.
Okay, I just Googled it and I just glanced at the painting and I know exactly what it is.
The minute you see this,
I didn't even look at the headline. I just saw the painting. I'm like, okay, obviously.
You've got the whole the shifted head, the weird.
Yes.
It's
clear.
Oh, you know exactly what this is. So this guy's mother hated the painting, shoved the thing away. Father was a junk dealer. The son then gets to go through all of their stuff. Discovers the painting.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
It's a Picasso worth $6 million. It was squirreled away since 1962. It was hidden, squirreled away. I guess the parents passed away. The son is going through their crap.
Good old Pablo.
I mean, this is such an ugly picture
It really is.
that they're lucky it wasn't destroyed.
It's that dysmorphic looking, Picasso did these like dysmorphic kind of things where you have the bottom of the head and then the whole other side of the head is off to the right. And but the minute you look at this, you're like, Picasso. And this thing was put away. Andrea Loroso said that his dad, Luigi, it's our third Luigi of the show.
Look at this old portrait they have of the mother just sitting in the house with this Picasso on the wall behind her.
Hated the damn thing. And then finally, there's a picture of it on the wall, but then finally hated the picture and like shoved it away somewhere. So the father was a junk dealer and the son was cleaning out the cellar, right? And then the father originally found the painting in a cellar in 1962, apparently. Then it's been squirreled away. And then the son finally found it. And the mother hated it. It was shoved away. $6 million Picasso.
Thanks, Ma.
Is that unbelievable? All right, let me tell you about marijuana Pepsi. What do you think marijuana Pepsi is? Think about this. If I just say marijuana Pepsi, describe and go.
I mean, I can think of a regular answer, not a silly answer. Fester, do you have a silly answer first?
I defer my time to you.
Okay, well, it's got to be THC infused Pepsi.
I mean, this isn't something they sell in stores. It has to be like infused at home, right?
Marijuana Pepsi, ladies and gentlemen. Your guesses are wrong. It's a woman. Her name is Marijuana Pepsi.
That's her name?
That's the name that her parents named. A woman called Marijuana Pepsi from birth says that she'll never change her name, even though she does not smoke weed and does not drink soft drinks.
I mean, the name Mary and Juana with, the name Juanita and Mary. I mean, Mary has to be
kind of a nice name.
The number one English name in the world.
Her name is.
I mean, it's common.
So, marijuana sounds like a pretty name. Pepsi's kind of funny.
Yeah. So that's her name. Marijuana, her first name. Pepsi, her middle name.
And so she goes by the traditional pronunciation of marijuana, or does she mix it up? Mary
No.
Joanna.
It's Marijuana Pepsi, all spelled correctly.
Marijuana Pepsi.
And pronounced
She
as
was
such.
given the name by her mother, who said the name would take her around the world due to the originality of the name.
Well, it's original.
Growing up, Marijuana said that she would be questioned on the moniker, and people were like, people assumed that her mother took drugs or was in prison, which is not true. Do you know what marijuana does for a living?
Gets people calm.
She works for Coca-Cola.
No. Marijuana has a PhD in higher education leadership.
Oh.
Works at a community college in Maryland in Baltimore County. Is the founder of an action center to help people out.
Okay.
And
It sounds like she's lived a successful life, right?
She does not smoke pot, and she does not drink sodas.
Sounds like she overcame her name.
Yeah.
She isn't a fan of Pepsi or sodas such as Pepsi. Never smoked weed.
Nope.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yep, exactly. Is that not crazy? What a story. Marijuana Pepsi.
Although she has gotten approached by marijuana companies asking to work with her.
What, dispensaries?
I mean, think about it, MJ. You love those little soda cap gummies. If you can infuse those gummies with a little bit of, THC and make that the new gummy edible and have her as your spokesperson.
What's that dispensary that sits in the old Sweet Tomato spot on Northdale Mabry near 275?
I don't know.
I don't
Is it-
remember the name of any of these places. I mean, I know they're around and they exist, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Except for the one Doc MJ, I think of you and I chuckle.
Doc MJ. Yeah, I see the commercials for that. So there's a dispensary where the old Sweet Tomato sits on Northdale Mabry, right across from Walmart, right in front of Home Depot.
Right.
So over the weekend, I had to go to Home Depot and get a few things. And I bought one thing. You know what? I had to return something, something that I didn't need. So I go back to return it. The Home Depot parking lot was crammed. Not a spot. Not one spot in the Home Depot parking lot.
Yeah.
So right behind, there's a back entrance to the marijuana dispensary that used to be Sweet Tomato. There's no one in there. They've got 30 parking spots in the back. No one's in there. Zero. And I'm like, there's no place for me to park. There's 0 spots. The place is nuts at Home Depot. Next to Target at Walters Crossing.
Is it called Sunnyside Medical Cannabis?
Yeah. I think that's Sunnyside Medical. It's the old Sweet Tomatoes.
Right.
Now it's a dispensary. So I pull into the back, and they've got a whole lot in the back. There's not one car back there. I'm sorry. There was a van that was pulling out that I think belonged to the dispensary. So I pull in there, and again, not one car. And this lady, I think, worked for the dispensary. They're going to tow you. I'm like, what? It's like, there's no parking spots. There's no one back here. There's no one. 0. They're going to tow you.
I mean, if they got an aggressive towing company, they would boost it.
Yeah, anyway, I said, listen, I got to return this item. Let's see how fast your tow truck company can get out here. So I said that to him.
Good.
I said, game
Bring it.
on. I said, let's see how quickly you can get Biff's Towing out here
All right.
to hook me up
You want to see something fun?
with a $200 drop charge.
Let me tell you something that maybe you and only you will enjoy.
Yes.
Google Maps.
Anyway, I made it to the front desk at Home Depot, returned the wrong item, and I was back, and my car was there. So boom, and that's right. The car worked all weekend. So the BMW X5 that was in my garage was after the flood in the garage. We had about 18 inches in our garage in South Tampa, and the car did have water up to the door, but the lower door, nothing got inside. The car, I mean, absolutely bone dry, but maybe a 1/4 inch above the tailpipe, so a little bit of water got into the exhaust, and the car was running fine. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, drove to work fine. And then Monday after the show, I turned the car on, and it started up fine. But the car had a message, drivetrain error, car will not restart. I'm like, oh, yeah, let me see. Let me challenge that. So I turned the car off, and I restarted fine. The car restarted. So I did drive it to BMW of Tampa. So they've got the car now. So I'm waiting for analysis. Hopefully it's just a sensor issue or just a reset. Maybe something got wet, just needs to dry out. That's what I'm hoping. Because the car, I don't think needs to be. Because I'm hearing stories about cars that got water into the exhaust that those cars are being totaled. I don't think this car. I hope it's not totaled.
No.
I hope it's just a simple repair. Bloom, 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 and we're done. And I'm driving an F-150 right now. So while my car is being assessed, the X5, Lorenzo over at Veterans Ford, one of our sponsors. I'm driving a dealer-plated brand new F-150 right now while we're assessing the X5. So we'll see what happens with that. But thanks, Lorenzo. I really appreciate the ride. And once again, with Veterans Ford, they're offering up employee pricing. Ford is offering employee pricing for replacement vehicles. So if your vehicle was trashed by the hurricane and the storm surge, if you've got a flood-destroyed vehicle, you can buy a Ford car, truck, or SUV from Veterans Ford right now for Ford employee pricing. It is $100 to $200 less than the dealership. It depends on the model. But they showed me one of the F-150 invoices, and listeners with flood-damaged cars can go to Veterans Ford. Folks, spread the word on this. If you know people that had flood-damaged cars, go to Veterans Ford, mention the MJ Morning Show, and you heard about the Ford employee pricing. And you can get a Ford brand new vehicle, Ford car, truck, or SUV, for less than what Veterans Ford pays Ford for the car, because you're going to get the employee, like factory worker pricing. And this is something that Ford is extending. So very, very nice at Veterans Ford, Line Bar, and Veterans Expressway. You going to say?
I forgot what I was talking.
Me too. But
Oh no! I looked up the Sunnyside cannabis place.
Yeah.
Right, because you asked what was the name of the location. It's in the old Sweet Tomatoes, as you pointed out.
I know. Yeah.
Look at the Google Map entry. It still has the markings of the sweet tomato. It has the outline of the salad bar in the middle of it. It says desserts over here.
Yeah, desserts are right there.
Pastas, soup
Yeah.
and bakery,
Oh, yeah.
and drinks.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a Google Map image of a building where it acknowledges where the salad bar is for a restaurant that's been closed now for 3.5, 4
Hey,
years.
have you seen on Google Maps that sometimes you can actually visually walk into the store on Google Maps?
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's intense.
Yeah, well, that's been around for years.
Well,
I've never done it.
Yeah.
More than just Street View?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I know Street View.
on Street View, it's through Street View. I guess it still exists, but on Street View, if you go like over the curb or you go in, some places they actually had cameras inside the establishment that you could walk around inside the place.
That's pretty cool.
On Google Street View. All right, let's give away some tickets right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I have tickets to Freestyle Free-for-All Tour, and this is going to be at the Kia Center in Orlando on Saturday, October 5th. This sounds like a really good time. If you want to escape all this mess and just have a little bit of fun amid all this hurricane aftermath, Expose, Lisa, TKA, Cover Girls, Freedom Williams from CNC Music Factory. Everybody dance now. Bum, 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 bum. All you got to do is call us right now. Caller 21, 800-990-1047. There are other acts. Brenda Kay is going to be there. No Mercy. Lisette Melendez is going to be there. Johnny O. I mean, just a whole bunch of acts for this Freestyle Free-for-All Tour. If you're caller 21, it's going to be at the Kia Center in Orlando on October 5th, Saturday night. You know, it's not like a Tuesday night. This is nice. So caller 21 right now, 800-990-1047 if you'd like to go, 800-990-1047. Anything else, Fester or Roxanne, before we call it a Wednesday?
I got a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
The whole story?
It's quick. It's quick.
Oh, look at the time.
Is it
All
20
right,
seconds
I'll say
quick?
it. It's 20 seconds.
I'm kidding. I'll shut off
You're
the
such a
music.
jerk.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, last night we were in the car having a serious conversation. Having a serious conversation.
I'll start again. Go ahead.
We're stressed out.
I will not. Just start again. I won't play the music.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Last night, Doug and I stressed out. Having I'm gonna come over there and beat you.
All right. Go ahead.
All right, we're in the car having a serious conversation. We're kind of stressed out. And then Daviana just says to us, she goes, you know what? I don't want to talk about people dead or dying anymore. I want to say that they went to live with Jesus or they turned into skeletons. And I thought that was great. And I'm going to stick to that.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for that uplifting message here.
Isn't that a great message? But I thought that was so profound.
It's actually a terrible message.
Let's eliminate death and dying. Let's not refer to it that way. There are better ways to put it.
All right.
Turn into a skeleton.
That's so spooky and demented.
It's part of the season, right? 'Tis
You know
the
what?
season.
That would be.
Just had a storm roll through. People are ravaged.
That would be macabre.
I don't know how I feel.
Welcome.
We gotta laugh at it.
Come in. All right, let's
Rap for real.
I was going to tell everybody to follow at Roxanne Wilder, but I'm not going to say that today because don't. What the hell was that story?
I was just making me laugh in my head.
All right, 9:49 at the MJ Morning Show, folks. Have a good day. Again, we're all going to get through this. It's going to be tough for a lot of folks, but we will manage. Have a good day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on the MJ Morning Show on Q105, and let's be careful out there.
The Q105 app is your connection to all the big...